Live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're live! Hello and welcome back to the Invictus stream! My name as always is Mr. Harlan Guthrie, and I am here with the delectable Mr. Alex Guthrie.
Woo! Welcome!
The incomparable Joe Fallak.
Woo! Welcome!
The handsome Mr. Justin Thomas James.
Woo!
And we are here with Episode 3 of Chapters of the Undefeated. Oh wait, that's a better sound effect for that.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's right, it is Episode 3 of our epic ongoing D&D 5e campaign that the very talented Joe Fallak has been working tirelessly to create for us. Big round of applause to her.
Yeah.
It has been a lot of fun to do this for you guys. Something new, something a bit more steady, and we're excited to be here with you on this Wednesday night. Of course, if this is your first time watching us, then please join our YouTube thing by subscribing. Click the little subscribe button and follow all the videos that we might be making. It's a lot of fun, and it makes Justin feel... Well, how does it make you feel, Justin?
You ever imagine what like a warm coffee feels like? Not to hold it, but like to be the coffee?
Often. Very often.
Yes, that's what it feels like. Just that. You know?
So if you want to make Justin feel like that all the goddamn time, then you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And also while you're doing that, like this video and all the other videos. Just go back and start liking all of them. But join the Facebook group and the Facebook page. These are the two places where we are all communicative and shit. This is where we talk and hang out and do all the cool stuff. And if this is your first time watching us, you should know that we're an 18+ show. Isn't that right, Alex?
That's right. Warning, warning. Viewer discretion is advised. If you don't like to hear naughty words, like, what kind of naughty words do we say here, Joe?
Heiny.
Hi. If you don't want to say
Tits.
or hear Heiny or tits, man, you're not doing very good. You're just going to invite more people.
How do you
in.
spell that one?
Heiny and tits?
But it is an
Then
18+ show, so make sure that or if you're uncomfortable with that, there is no problem whatsoever. You can minimize the video, you can leave, you can write us an angry letter, so long as you still like the video and subscribe. And there's someone out there that's angry disliking all of our videos, and you know who you are, and I wish you well, my friend. For whatever reason.
It's because you're gay and you're not telling everybody.
There's nothing wrong with that, keeping it secret, but let me just tell you, if you have a problem with our videos and you want to dislike them and it makes you feel better, you do it. I'm okay with that. You do you. Life's too short. You make yourself feel better, buddy, okay?
That's fucking right.
You tell them Harlan said you can dislike. In fact, anyone dislike anything.
Downvote.
Downvote everything.
It'll be the worst hated videos in
But make
all
sure
of
you
YouTube.
put in the comments that it's my fault, because I want to take responsibility for that. And I love you very much no matter what, okay? You sit there. I'm yours, buddy. If you're a part of the Facebook group, you get a chance to enter the most valuable post. This is the post of the week that we bring out amongst the rest in honor with a really super title that we just came up with called MVP. That's totally ours. It's absolutely original. This week, I would like to honor it for the second time to a very talented woman. I was going to say girl, but I guess woman, right? Miss Allison Nicole Fisher. For her post sharing her game Dolphin Surprise? Tuna?
Everything's dolphin?
Everything is Dolphin? Is that how it's called?
Everybody's a dolphin?
I didn't. Yeah, maybe. I didn't write it down. But well done, Allison. You win the MVP.
There were like really cool pictures. You know, I saw that post and I was thinking to myself, are those hand drawn? Or did they come from somewhere? So I'm
You'll
curious.
just have to ask Allison.
Did you read like the little character write-ups? That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Like, and then this dolphin like went to, his family had this kind of a house under the sea, and fuck, it's cool.
It was very cool. Well done, Allison. And I do want to give a shout out, not MVP, but shout out to John Regan, who also posted that D&D and drive-ins and diners and dives, or whatever the fuck, which is hilarious. And you made me laugh a hearty chuckle. So well done to you too, buddy.
Funny post. There was someone who posted about, what was it? If oh fuck, never mind.
There were lots of funny posts throughout the week. There was honestly, it was probably one of the funniest weeks that we've had in a long time. So keep it up, because all you have to do is be funny and entertaining. Really, that's it. Everyone will like you, I've heard. And also, when you're part of the Facebook group, remember, just kind of being communicative always gets you a chance at winning MVP. I'm trying to remember, because I was just about to say, it feels like we haven't done it in a few weeks, and I forgot we didn't do it last week. Question.
The Monty Python thing.
Oh, yes.
That was fucking funny.
Very funny.
I forget who posted that.
But last week we didn't do MVP. Actually, last week we did Tales from the Brood. And if you
That's
haven't
right.
watched it, you should watch it because that was a pretty fun episode, I gotta say. I had a lot of fun doing it.
We're gonna do that again.
Definitely. Anyway, that is it for the intro. We have a lot of ground to cover in tonight's game. So unless you guys have anything else to add, I think we're ready to jump this shark.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, chapters of the Undefeated.
Previously, our fresh-faced recruits turned heroes, Graham, Quintus, Tados, and Leah tested their mettle against a handful of goblins on the slushy road leading into Duluth County. Foes vanquished, they followed the road to the well-guarded small town of Zoam, meeting a guard named Richard on the way. At the Bloom and the Barrel, they made a scene among the locals and met Marguerite, a farmer fallen on hard times. Eager to demonstrate the merits of the Undefeated, the heroes agreed to help rescue Marguerite's cows from the sprites which had been plaguing the village. However, upon meeting the sprites, the travelers realized that the problem was far more complicated. The sprites claimed to be protecting their homelands and requested help advocating for their cause. They spoke of an evil influence in the town. The sprites accompanied the heroes to witness a public execution and glimpse the mayor, Leslie Timkins, the captain of the guard, Rowan Estal, and the town's banker, Serene Crawley. Graham called on his deity to help identify any unnatural devils and was rewarded for his faith, while under the guise of being on a tour of the guard house, led by two guards named Richard, the party got close enough to the guard captain to identify him as a fiend. The party then begs audience with Mayor Leslie, who offers to assign a company of the town guard to join the Undefeated if they are able to get rid of the sprites outside the town. After speaking with the mayor, the party retreated to lunch at Marguerite's farmhouse, where they discussed a number of ways they'd like to entrap the guard captain. This is where we meet our heroes again for episode 3. I'm not sure if any of you guys went back to remind yourself of your many plans.
Graham sort of turns towards Tados and says, I think last we were speaking, we were discussing the options of leading Rowan into the woods.
Why, yes, that was just a moment ago.
Of course, but being old as I am, often my mind wanders for weeks on end, it seems.
Yes.
But I think it might be still worthwhile to investigate his homestead. Would you not agree, Quintus?
Oh, yes, I definitely agree. And to be perfectly honest, I don't know, the more I think about this, I mean, if he is able to hide as a human, how powerful is this fiend? I just can't imagine.
Well,
You know?
Tados was mentioning a little bit earlier, I think you were just staring at the window at a bird, but that he's probably very powerful, that he can just shapeshift here and there, walking undetected.
Have you seen that bird? Look at that one. It keeps flying by.
Yes. In fact, you make a very valid point. We should watch who we're speaking around. Maybe Marguerite, you can close that window.
And she does. She's stirring some soup. Well, will you have anything to eat before you head back out? And she goes and closes the shutter on her window.
Tados licks his lips and says,
I would like another potato if you've got one.
Yes, you.
Regular pottage is fine by me.
I'll have the same, please.
And Graham stands up and walks towards the window sort of contemplatively and says, I think if we're to go about this, we need to be smart. Ultimately, you're right, these creatures must be very powerful. in order to have all the magics that it has. He's won the influence of the mayor as well, meaning that anything we do has to be scrutinized and studied. Perhaps, as I suggested, looking at where he lives could be a benefit. The sprites might even be ones to lend their eyes on his abode before us walking in there.
Yeah, Marguerite, she's setting some bowls out in front of you and ladling some soup in. Yes, well, I believe that he lives in a well-appointed manor house just a little bit south of the town square. So you can't miss it, really. It's the biggest house on the street.
And he's not there right now, eh?
Well, I don't
Obviously.
know.
No, last we checked, remember we were speaking with him, said that he would meet us at the bar after his shift. And they said that the shift lasted, I can't remember, but I think we figured out a way to find out how long he would be gone, roughly. And it didn't seem like it was anytime soon.
I think it was a couple of hours at least.
Well, let's just hope he doesn't come back for lunch. All right, well, I think that's as good a place to start as any. Perhaps even the banker we could speak with as well. See where she stands with this whole hanging business and fiends and all of it.
Agreed.
Yes.
I also think that we need to be cautious now. Again, I misspoke towards the mayor, and I'm concerned that maybe she is suspicious of us. Maybe she knows that we are aware that the guard captain is a fiend. We should tread carefully.
All right. So, Tados, Leah, what was your name again? Graham. Right.
It's in my... never mind.
Usually you're wearing the name tag, but you didn't.
Well, I thought it was a bit boisterous. I think we should speak to the banker first, probably.
All right. While we're in town, that sounds good.
Yeah, just get a feel on her.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so the bank was building that Marguerite would have kind of pointed out to you as you guys entered the town for the hanging earlier this morning. So you already know where that is.
I turn to Marguerite
And I say, Marguerite, again, I would just like to say on behalf of the four of us here, we much appreciate your discreetness,
as he says, as he places a couple of silver coins on the edge of the table in front of him.
Thank you for everything you have done, and of course for keeping all of this conversation between us. Obviously, we would request you do that.
Certainly, yes. And she kind of pats her belt pouch, which is a very thin affair, but she kind of nods at you and then nods at Graham. She says, Graham was so kind as to give me gold earlier this morning. Really, you don't need to go through all this trouble. I'm merely trying to repay you for the help that you gave me bringing back my livelihood. She kind of gestures out the window, which is now closed, but you can hear cows mooing in the distance.
Well, yes, but of course, good favors are repaid for kindness and other
kind
things.
of picks them off of the ledge and puts the silvers in her pocket, kind of like blushing a little bit.
Maybe we should use that to our advantage, actually, Marguerite. She would obviously be able to inquire things, maybe because... Inquire of people because she's more well known, right? Like maybe we can ask her to sort of be a little bit of a spy.
Well, I don't really want to involve her, to be perfectly honest. I
mean,
she
doesn't know. Well, I guess now she does. I was going to say she doesn't know anything, but now she overheard a lot. Fair enough.
I mean, the way they're hanging people in the town.
I kind of want to get a general feel for people too. You know what I mean? Like,
well, we're not going to get a good feel for them sitting in here.
I agree, and Graham steps outside, and I think
still pissing rain.
Of course it is. Bloody rain.
This is not acid.
Is acid rain common where you're from?
In the mountains, it can be, especially in the north, near the volcanic area.
Did you say volcanic? Did you pronounce volcano wrong?
Well, yes.
And you see this harsh blushness go over my face.
Oh.
Have you actually seen the volcano? Have you seen it erupt?
No, only the smoke off in the distance. We dare not go near the volcanic area, for it is very dangerous and there are lava creatures.
Lava creatures made of lava, like golems that rise out of the sand.
But yes, creatures that swim in the lava and eat. And it's very scary.
Anyway, I'm going to head over to the bankers, but on the way, I want to stop by Merle, the sword maker, and see if I can't find out. And I'll tell everybody. I mean, we can all do it together. I don't really care who.
Well, I'm gonna be learning as much about these lava creatures as I possibly can.
Okay. Yeah.
This is all
because it's absolutely fascinating.
All of it. I already told you guys, you are masters of your own domain, as it were. So you tell me what your counties are like. I'm writing this lava creatures, acid rain.
Ours are going to look so pale in comparison.
Very fascinating.
Yeah.
In actuality, volcanic eruptions do cause a lot of disruption in the atmosphere, and it's not uncommon to have acid rain around volcanoes.
Yep, I've heard that.
I did not doubt you in the slightest, Tados. I honestly thought you were telling the truth.
Good, I was.
I'd absolutely love to see it one day, if luck would have it that way.
Maybe we'll live that long. I'm gonna head to the sword maker, Merle.
Yeah, did I name the
You did, I wrote it down. Merle.
Merle the blacksmith.
No, did I name the smithy?
Oh, you just said sword maker Merle.
Great. Anyone want to give a stab at it?
The actual name of the shop?
Yeah.
Hammers. Smack.
Yep.
Just hammers. Just
Hammer
hammers.
Smacky.
It's like an artisan. It's like an artisan shop. Hammer.
Unless someone wants to one up that.
And it's got like a logo.
Minimalistic,
Yeah.
tiny hammer.
And like the guy comes out in like a black T-shirt and glasses. He just, at Hammer, we don't actually make the hammers. Hammer is about an experience.
Artisanal hammers.
Yeah, we have an artisanal hammer.
You actually just come here to learn about the hammers. You have to go elsewhere to
Fucking
buy them.
hilarious. I would love that.
We approach Hammer Smacky. It's kind of a squat, low building, and from within you hear the clatter of the clamor of a hammer and anvil. And as we approach, the doors open. It's hot inside already, and there's kind of a buff, blue dragonborn with a black crop top and very small glasses.
And I say, "Excuse me, are you the owner here?"
And he's just like working at the anvil, like doesn't hear you. It's like very loud inside.
Excuse me, are you the owner? And I try to just get a little bit louder, but not loud enough to talk over it.
He kind of turns around, like maybe he heard something, and then sees you in the door. He's like, "Oh, just a second, just 1 second."
Oh, of course.
It's like finishing off with a weapon.
And I sort of peruse the things on the wall.
Yeah. What do they got there?
They have everything in the player's handbook. They have a couple of things maybe that you wouldn't necessarily find.
Hey.
Anything that you're interested in?
Anything's magic here? I can't detect it, but how about you guys?
I guess I still have my spells, so I can detect magic, yeah.
Yeah, is that a cantrip?
No, it is a full spell. Oh no, I had detect good and evil. Sorry, never mind.
I cannot detect it.
I could detect good, or I could detect good and evil.
Would
weapons.
Arcana work? Like if they did like searched for runes or something, or?
If you found runes, you might know what they pertain to with an Arcana check. But as you're looking around at the shelves, Merle kind of like drops whatever he's working on to this barrel, and the hiss is incredible. And then takes it out again from the water and puts it into oil or whatever the fuck blacksmiths do. The blade is gleaming, beautiful work, and he leaves it a place where blades are left. And then kind of turns around and takes the leather apron off and just kind of stands there. "What can I do you for?"
And I say, greetings. You must be Merle.
Yes, that's me.
My name is Graham Hereward, and these are my companions, Quintus, Leah, and I forget your name so many times.
Tados.
Tados, that's right, and Tados.
It's a pleasure to meet you, sir.
And he one by one grabs everyone's hands in like two-handed handshake. He's a big dude, and then he spins Quintus around a little bit as he says hello. That's a pretty nice spear you got there.
Oh, thank you. It's just a regular issue from Holston, you know.
Holston.
Not top of the line. Aye, that's where I hail from.
They do good blades there.
Aye, they do. Cobalt Guard's got to be stocked up, if you know what I mean.
Yes, I do. Especially in times like these. Well,
Aye.
Do you need repairs done, or are you looking for new armaments?
A few questions, actually. We are looking for magic weapons and armaments, but we're also interested in, well, and Graham sort of plays dumb for a second, and it's like, when we came into town, there seemed to be a hanging, and a lot of the townspeople were sort of a mixed bag, some concerned, some excited. What do you take on these slew of hangings that have happened?
He's gonna roll insight on you. Just gonna try to see what he thinks about you. Okay, yeah. So he kind of like narrows his eyes and like hunches his head down to get like a little bit more on your level. He looks around, looks out the door at the rain, out the window, the back of the shop, and then he's like, "To tell you the truth, I don't much like it. You never know who could end up on the gallows tomorrow, if you know what I mean."
I do, and that was the impression that we got as well.
And looking around the shop, I'm making myself busy just looking around. And at this, when I hear the blacksmith say this, I kind of turn towards him and kind of, I guess, give him a look that I'm happy and I approve of. Yes, good. You know, I'm glad that he also feels that way.
So
he's like, "So just a minute, I need to make sure that this fire is appropriate. Just give me a second." And he goes to the back of the shop and just breathes flame into the forge until it like heats up a little bit.
Oh, because he's a dragonborn?
Yeah, he has a breath weapon, so he comes back in. Sorry about that. Wipes like ash off of his mouth.
It seems like the council for these judicial hearings are comprised of the mayor, the captain of the guard, and a banker. How do you feel about them?
Well, I think typically if you keep your head down and your nose clean, you don't do nothing against the people who live here, you know, try your best to eke out an honest living, you won't get on their bad side. Mind you, the taxes keep going up. It's harder and harder to make a living. Now, I keep busy. There's a lot of farming folk around here who need metalwork done, you understand. But I've been thinking about picking up and leaving for one of the cities, somewhere I can maybe escape this small town bullshit.
Well, I'll tell you about one place, and that's actually where this fellow's from. Have you heard of House Bryden?
No, can't say that I have.
House Bryden? Seriously? Oh, well, over in the east and to the north, there is a county known as Vale. And there's a very interesting thing going on.
But it's just maybe 2 over, yeah.
Agreed. Yes, agreed. I agree with that fact. Well, there is something happening there. There's a faction known as the Undefeated that are looking for skilled adventurers like yourself, or, well, skilled armsmen like yourself. And something worth checking out.
He runs his hand through like his frills on his head, and he's like, "Oh, I don't know. I'm not really a brave person like you, but
hey, you didn't need to be brave. You need to be able to make good weapons, which you can."
Well,
That's
thank
true.
you.
They can use
Thank
not just
you very
fighters, but blacksmiths as well. The cause could use a great number of people. Have you had dealings individually with the captain of the guard, the banker, or the mayor?
Rowan Estelle comes in now and then to see to it that the guards are being well equipped. That's again, apart from the farmers, we need a strong guard in this town. The monsters in the fields and on the roads are getting stronger all the time, and honestly, that's one of the reasons that I wouldn't make a trek out to Vale. It's just no saying whether I'd even make it there.
So you deal with the captain. How do you feel about him?
He's a fair man. Sometimes asks for a little extra work to be done for a little bit of less price, but to tell you the truth, ever since his wife passed away, he's become kind of an asshole.
How did his wife pass away?
Oh, she died during labor, as far as I know.
Interesting.
He has a child.
Oh no, the child passed as well, unfortunately.
And when did this happen?
Oh, I'd say about 2 years ago.
Excellent. And since then, did you notice a change in the taxes and maybe a change in the general way that your town was run?
Yeah, I'm not sure whether they're related or not. Times being what they are with the fracture, everything's kind of been happening all at once. Like, I wouldn't say that because a woman died in childbirth that I ended up being taxed more. That's kind of crazy.
I was only curious about the timing, and yes, I understand it's crazy. Think nothing of it. The magic items that you have, could you point them out to us?
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't carry any magical weapons. They're far too expensive for this small town. I think
not even for the guard, though.
The guard may have a couple, but we don't have an enchanter in town, so there's no one who would enchant the weapons.
Interesting.
Very
Interesting.
All right.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. I appreciate your time, and as Quintus said, I think the Undefeated would be very much appreciative of anything you could offer them, whether it be your armaments or your arm itself. And if you feel like testing your mettle in any way, feel free to call on us. We'll be in town for at least the next day or so. We'd love to...
Well, perhaps when you... where are you heading after this?
We'll be heading to the capital, Duluth, Orjek.
I could, I was thinking about looking for work in Orjek. I could use a guard, as I was saying. I'm good making weapons and testing and honing them, but using them not so much. Perhaps I could travel out with you. Leave this pigsty behind.
Well, I think that would be a lovely idea, and I think with you working on sharpening our blades and working on things of that sort, I think we could create an amicable relationship.
Let me think on it.
Yes,
a night.
As we will, as well. And I look to the other guys and I'm like, who?
This guy is probably 7.5 feet tall.
Fucking A, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tall people are the
Scare
best.
away all of the bandits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Merle, if you do see the captain, tell him that we are looking for his help with something. Namely, the problem with the sprites.
I will, yes. Certainly. Thank you.
I just want to do a perception check in here just to see what's up, and I got a 17, but I think my passive is like 20 anyway, so I guess it's
Merle kind of lives like a bachelor. You can see kind of beyond the shop area is the smith area, and it's a one-story establishment, but you can kind of tell by the room, it's almost like half a room, not even, beyond the smithy there's like a cot and like some garbage on the floor. This is all he has.
Okay. Perfect.
Well, I'm getting a little warm in here, aren't you?
Yes, let's head outside.
Pleasure to meet you, Mer. Hope to see you again.
Likewise. And he heads back and puts his apron back on.
And I say, the fire be with you, Merle. And
You too.
Oh, are you okay? Do you carry the fire?
Oh, in my whole body.
No, I mean Alistair's fire. Do you follow Alistair?
Oh, no, I'm an atheist dragon.
All right, Graham, all right. Come on,
Fair enough.
time to go.
Good luck dying.
All right, let's
with
go.
nothing
Very nice
else.
to meet you, Merle. Very nice. Ding, ding.
Goodbye, Merle.
Guy back there doesn't believe in God. What a fool. All right, I want to talk about this death because I turned to the other guys and I'm like, I don't have much experience in the ways of creatures of fiends and sorts like this, but something seems awfully suspicious about a dead wife giving birth and then losing the child as well, conveniently at the same time that the town's changed. What do you know,
Yeah,
Tados?
I wonder if there's a village healer, or if maybe there could have been some help, or whether a community like this really just is out on its own.
That's a great
We
idea,
had
GM.
in our village a healer of some kind that would help with the ladies with that sort of thing.
Aye,
That's
it's a good idea.
I think that's a worthy cause to investigate. Tados, do you know anything about fiends of this nature or any sort of birth-related? I know that like botchlings are created from like the unborn, unnamed fetuses.
Botchlings.
But I'm like, is there something
Well,
of that ilk?
Yeah, maybe. I will tell you in just one moment.
You can roll a religion or a history check.
Well, I rolled.
I should have rolled
history,
religion then. I didn't
You
realize.
can do that.
Then
and I
will.
got an 11.
Oh, I'm not that good at religion or history. You said.
Yeah.
Not that good at either, but I'm. Okay, well, I'm trained. or
I'm
whatever
very
in
proficient,
religion,
and I've
so
already
plus
rolled,
2.
and it's 11. So, I mean,
Well, I will
Anything?
roll anyway. Yeah, no, I didn't get it. Never mind.
Also, house bride, and not that I am intimating that you should use it on this, but you have XP, so you can roll with inspiration. Essentially, you can roll with
Right. Roll with
advantage
vigor.
one time.
Right.
Don't know if you want to save that for some very important moment or.
I will save it for the most important moments.
With those low rolls, the two of you can't really come up with any sort of lore that you can remember about demons and children.
a problem with birth.
But I really like Leah's idea about the healer. I think that might be
Aye.
a better cause to go to before the baker. A more informed understanding of this village would benefit any
But-
conversations we have.
I believe it might be better for us to actually go and look at the captain's dwelling as we had originally planned before doing any of that.
That's right. Yeah, the afternoon is wearing on. When did we say we were going to meet him?
Well, I thought about that as well, and I think if someone stayed at the bar to distract him while the others investigated, it would ensure that his home is vacant. Also, knowing what we might know about his wife's death may give me an advantage to console him in a religious sense at the bar. You know, it might
Oh,
be.
so you're volunteering to distract him at the
Well,
bar.
put it this way. What's everyone's sneak? Because mine's like garbage.
Ooh, I've
That's
got
your stuff.
Oh,
got
actually, no,
+2.
mine's +2. Sorry, never mind. Mine's +2.
not very good.
Anybody else? Tatos?
Sneak?
Your stealth, yeah.
Oh, a +1.
Okay. Well, maybe
Not
then I
great,
should go.
but
I was just more thinking, you know, if some creature's like in the basement or something and you come in and, you know what I mean? I was just trying to think
Ian's
about
house.
that.
Leah's
But,
got a +3.
and I have a +2. What was yours, Quintus?
+2.
Okay, so then
looks like Leah's
We're
going
not
in.
very stealthy.
definitely Leah.
If there's anybody there at that house, then we're pretty much going to be seen and heard. Unless we send the pixies in. I mean, fairies. I mean,
Sprites.
sprites.
I will say I do want to play Leah as intelligently as I can, but I don't really envision her as someone who's going to do a lot of scouting because that's going to be less interesting. She'll come with you, but She wouldn't be like the forerunner of a mission like that.
Right. No. Yeah. We would probably then Quintus and I would go maybe, and then Tados, since you have 0 stealth, maybe you would keep the guy distracted. You could always just borrow this and tell him about whatever religion you want, or any religion you want. Try to console him. If we want to go that angle, don't get me wrong. I do think the healer is the first best bet because it will be a shorter conversation than the banker.
Well, I think you mentioned something too about the timeline of the town, figuring out what is the story of this town, because we've got a lot of separate elements about what is going on here. The hangings, the taxes, everything is kind of. I want to know what led up to that.
I agree.
Obviously, the fracture did, but
so what do we know? We know that Mayor Leslie has been mayor here for about 10 years.
Yes.
And that she's well liked. We know that,
that
Rowan
she's favorable to Rowan as well.
How long has Rowan been captain of the guard? Did we find out? At least since 3 years ago, because that's when his wife died 2 years ago. Interesting. And the fracture is 3 years ago.
Aye. So he came, like, when the fracture happened.
The time of the fracture.
Pretty much.
Maybe, Graham, you can ask him when he arrived in town, or how his career has progressed, or something like that. We can find out when he started working as a captain.
Yeah, we could ask one of the Richards.
Oh, we could ask a Richard.
One of the Richard.
Well, why don't we divide and conquer? Because I would like to speak with the healer if there is one, or at least find out if there is one before speaking with the.
Yes.
I think finding out. I mean, obviously he was here before. To me, if the timeline of his wife's death and the town falling into disrepair, and perhaps his fiendish, shape-shifting appetite, whatever, coming up in that time frame too, then there's something to that I would want to then have that knowledge to speak with the baker about, to see if the timeline's lined up and things.
The baker?
Sorry, the candlestick maker. The banker.
So as we are kind of walking from shelter to shelter through the rain, kind of hiding under eaves, making sure that we're not being, eavesdropped on, as it were, while we are also staying dry. We make our way back kind of naturally just toward the center of town. And indeed, there is kind of a dark-looking building that has got some... So I want to say like a dream catcher style, like pendant that's like a number of sticks with twine and like feathers hanging off of it. Hanging in all of the windows, and there's a mortar and pestle on a wooden sign hanging above the door, and the door's closed.
This must be the healer, or at least the herbalist.
Naturopath.
Yes. So I will.
Homeopathic practitioner.
Homeopathic.
So I enter.
Great.
And I follow.
Goodbye, Graham. I'm going to go check. I'm going to go meet with the banker. We've been saying we want to do that.
Sure.
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
Divide and conquer.
This won't take long, and then I'll ask you a question. I'll join after.
Sounds good.
Great. So we'll do a split. Well, not split screen. We'll do the healer first, and then we'll do the banker.
Okay.
So as as Tados and Graham enter the healer, you are greeted with a variety of very overpowering smells. It's clear that whoever works here has got a lot of stuff cooking on the stove right now.
This brings me back to my early days of brewing and alchemy.
Did you do a lot of alchemy brewing, Tados?
Yes, I did. My family, they were alchemists by trade. I decided not to follow in too close, although I did do some brewing and alchemy when I was a young tiefling.
I myself dabbled when I was young as well. Perhaps one day we can brew something together, if you know what I mean.
Would be very enjoyable. Excuse me, alchemist, healer, what say you? What are you calling yourself?
So the room that you've walked into is kind of a cozy room. There's a number of lamps on the walls that have red scarves draped around them. So there's kind of a red light throughout the whole room. There's shallow shelves with like jars full of butterfly wings and like twisted dried roots and a number of different kind of liquids and like all sorts of alchemy shit everywhere. Behind the counter, there is a woman who is perched on top of a step stool, and she's like cleaning the inside of a cauldron. And then there's a couple of hearth fires beyond her, where a number of different other potions are brewing potentially. She kind of looks up as you guys enter, and she's addressed by Tados. She's kind of a cute-looking halfling woman. She's got her like red hair all in curls, and she hops down off the stool to address you.
Good evening. Good afternoon. Sorry, I am Tados, and this is my. What are we, friends?
Sure, let's go with that.
Graham, this is my friend, Graham. We are friends. And teammates.
Yes.
Graham, it's nice to meet you. And Tados, you as well. I am Shok, Dry Willow. And so, yes,
nice
well,
to meet you, Chok.
Welcome to my shop.
Are you taking the lead here, Tados?
Well, I didn't intend to, but Graham, you tend to always enjoy talking more.
No, go ahead. I just wanted to make sure.
Yes, you see, I was inquiring on a couple of things around town, namely a good potion for healing, but then we got to talking about this poor captain.
Then I look at Graham kind of for approval.
I guess before we should ask questions, generally, how do you feel about people? I feel like, well, let's start again, Tados. There was a hanging. How do you feel about that?
I'm sorry. It's, I guess, the way of the town to enact justice as it sees fit. Can I help you find something in particular?
I guess let's roll insight on her to see how she feels about that.
Sure.
Maybe. My point was to think about. We don't want to alert. Oh, natural 20. We don't want to alert the people, because who knows, right? Maybe she's like the fiend's best friend, and this is what I fucked up with the mayor. So my roll's not. Oh, there it is. So natural 20.
You rolled a 20 on the insight?
Yeah.
So you can tell that she's kind of shy and put off by the fact that you guys are clearly strangers. But apart from that, she's not really in league with them necessarily.
In regards to the hangings, does she feel comfortable with them? Did she feel like...
I guess she's uncomfortable, but she doesn't want to talk about it.
Okay.
Is what you're getting.
Yeah, okay. Then I'll just say, we mean you no disrespect, Shok. You seem like a powerful healer. Your herbs here, both of us have dabbled ourselves, and it seems like you know very well what you're doing. We are travelers through town. We are from the Undefeated, a group trying to reunite the fracture that divided this great kingdom. We merely came into town and saw what we perceived to be rather a horrific sight, a hanging of a man. Guilty or not, it was something that was off-putting. And we decided to come in here from the rain, and it has been on our mind. And we were curious what the townspeople, like yourself, the kind-looking people, might have in the feelings of that. And believe me, we are worthy of your trust. And I guess I'll roll charisma.
Persuasion roll for me.
Which is 18 plus persuasion.
You were rolling really well last week too, I think.
Yeah, so plus 2. So plus 20.
Persuasion is plus 2. Yeah. So
oh, sorry, plus charisma, right? So plus 4.
Jeez.
Yeah. Plus if you're proficient.
Yeah, so plus 2 and 2. So yeah, plus 4. So yeah, 22.
So, sorry, what were you trying to convince her to give you?
That we're trustworthy, that we want... I basically just reiterated. I said, you know, we were put off by it. Were you put off by it? You can trust us.
Yeah, she kind of, as you're talking, she, like, nods her head and she, like, climbs up on the counter and sits on top of it. And she's like, well, not that I want to go, you know, spreading falsehoods or anything, but... I think that this town could do with less death, if you know what I mean.
No, absolutely. I myself am a follower of Alistair's Light and a healer. And
oh,
again,
you are?
Are you a follower of Alistair's Light?
No, my brother-in-law, though.
Oh, really? Maybe I know him. I mean, I wouldn't know him, but that's so exciting. Does he carry the fire? Is he like me? I'm so excited. Where does he live?
Oh, the thing that you have on the symbol that you wear. He's got a scarf with that on it.
Oh, that's lovely. That's lovely.
Just got a farm down the road quite a ways.
What's his name? What's his name? Just in case I run into him. Pickledale?
You've got cat tongues over here.
How about Pickadale Dry Willow?
His name is Pickdill.
Pickadale.
God damn it.
Pickadale it is. Pickadale Dry Willow?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Pickadale.
Oh no, he's my brother-in-law. So Pickadale.
Well, he could be your husband's brother.
Pumpernickel.
I don't have a husband.
Pickadale
Marshwater.
But he's your Okay, Marshwater it is. Doesn't really matter. I was just curious.
He married my sister.
Very beautiful, wonderful, good.
She is beautiful and wonderful and good. That's why he likes her.
I assume she was, based on how you look. Well, I rolled a 22. Anyway, going back to whatever the fuck we were talking about. Oh yeah, these people that are causing these hangings, this untold amount of death in your quiet town. We heard it was the banker, the captain of the guard, and the mayor. How do you feel about them?
Well, they do keep us safe from these terrible times, so I suppose we owe them a certain amount of thanks. And, you know, times are tough, but we are surviving. We're stout-hearted folk here.
Have you been a healer for many years in this town?
Oh, yes. I might not look it, but I'm 54.
Oh, you don't look a day over whatever a complimentary age would be. 20-something, probably?
Well, I'm not a child.
That's why I prefaced it with whatever a complimentary age would be. Because I am aware of my own shortcomings, dear, and as a world traveler, I am not well known to your kind, unfortunately. Tados, you had some questions. I think we can probably ask those now. And I back up and look around the shelves.
Yes.
Now that we've established she's trustworthy.
Yes, why thank you, Graham, for being so kind and starting us out. You've been a healer here for many years, yes? I'm curious, how has this fracture affected your business?
Well, I do have a number of clients, you know, the farmers who need remedies for the sleeping sickness that the pixies can sometimes cast upon them. So I have some herbs for that. They work very well. And, well, you know, typically assisting with whatever injured animals need help, a lot of the cattle and, you know, midwifery. And I do a little bit of first aid whenever there's trouble on the road and folks make their way back to town and don't exsanguinate.
Yes, of course. We are always coming across people that are injured on the roads, and thankfully we have Graham who can help in that respect.
And I turn around and then go back to perusing.
I'm curious, we did hear earlier from your blacksmith about this poor captain who lost his child years ago, maybe 2 years ago now. What a terrible affair that must have been. This doesn't happen often in the town, does it?
No, well, I'm very good at my job. I mean,
so.
Not to make more of myself than there is, small as I am, but yes, I'd like to think I'm quite a talented midwife. Unfortunately, Bernice?
Ah, yes.
Bernice
Bernice.
Estelle? She had a difficult pregnancy and she would not allow me to help her.
She wouldn't.
No.
Why, isn't that strange for someone in a small town?
Well, yes, I offered my assistance as you do when a woman gets a certain size, you know, being the only woman with a decent medicine skill around, but she would have none of it. In fact, she was a very cruel woman. The pregnancy did a bad thing to her.
Really?
Well,
But
you
was
know,
she cruel
women-
before that?
What did the pregnancy do to her? I turn around.
Oh, no, just, you know, some women become,
Explain, please.
Yes.
I'm totally ignorant to all things.
Graham, you've never been around a pregnant woman before.
I have not, unfortunately.
Why, they
Many-
can become demons overnight.
She
Interesting.
kind of like elbows you like a demon.
No, I've been in my own company for many, many years, and before that, simply men. I'm blissfully unaware. Please tell me.
Yes, she didn't want anyone to touch her. And this is, I shouldn't be. This is none of my business to speak ill of the dead. She was a lovely woman, and I believe Rowan misses her dearly.
No, please, it's not speaking ill. It's purely as three healers. I'm curious if I should encounter something along the road or in our journeys of a woman in labor, as you're describing, or in the pregnancy. I would love to know whatever you could share. Any information is valuable to us.
Well, I wasn't permitted to assist with the birth at all. I offered my services and I was turned away. And, well, see what it got her.
And it
We
was
buried her.
Bernice and not Rowan that did the turning away.
Correct, yes, Bernice.
She turned you away. She didn't want you to help with the pregnancy.
No, she didn't want me to touch her.
Was Bernice close with anyone in town?
Oh, she had a few, you know, girlfriends and just, you know, folks, I suppose.
Was there anyone that comes to mind? Someone that maybe mourned her loss more than Rowan, or even to the same degree?
Oh. I want you to roll me an insight check.
Happily.
Actually, not an insight check. I just want another persuasion, I guess.
Well, okay, I did a 2 anyway. So persuasion would be 6. Actually, I'll use that. I guess I got to use the thing before I roll. So I will not. Unless, can I use the XP after I roll?
Why not?
Okay.
If
just
you really
rolling
want
again.
to, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, this seems to be a pretty profitable line of questioning. Oh, perfect. 18 to 22.
Oh.
And I just I reestablish. Shok, you can trust us sincerely. I promise you that. We mean you no harm, and only to help in any way that we can.
All right. I'm thinking there was a woman who was just newly arrived in town. She became fast friends with Bernice. I never met her, but she was beautiful. This was right around the time where she became pregnant, and yes, but she didn't stay long. In fact, after Bernice passed away, she moved on through town.
Oh, and do you remember her name?
No, I'm sorry. Gorgeous woman. Seemed like she had too much wealth, you know, wouldn't stay in the smelly old herbal shop like I have, so.
A wealthy, good-looking woman passed through town, was friendly with Bernice, and you don't remember her name.
Yeah, this was years ago. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just establishing. Do you know where Bernice was buried?
Yes, there's a little graveyard outside of town.
And the
Where are
child?
you staying?
Her and the child, yes.
I suppose. Honestly, I was feeling a little bit tetchy that I felt like I could have helped, and I didn't attend the burial.
Fair enough.
And final question, maybe. The tax hike has obviously been tough for you as well.
It's terrible. Just terrible.
Whenabouts did that come about? I was in trouble 1 word into that sentence.
This was about, 2 years ago?
Not that I'm drawing parallels, but would it be around the time of Bernice's passing?
I suppose.
Just interested. Do you remember when she died? I guess the grave would say it, actually. Don't worry about it if you don't know. But if you do know when she died?
It was 2 years ago today.
Oh, today, was it? Very good. What's the calendar on the wall say? Scratchy Scratch? Yes. 2 years ago today, Scratchy Scratch.
Oh, interesting.
Approximately, yes. Springtime, we'll say.
Ah, the second best time. For Hitler, that's what I was thinking too.
Do we have any more questions, or can we move?
Jump over. I think we're done, Tados. Do you have any? Yeah.
No.
We've occupied enough, monopolized.
So, Shok ends up making the two of you a cup of tea to help dry you out, and you guys exchange pleasant conversation for the next little bit. We cut to Quintus and Leah as we are making our way to the bank.
Whew. All right, well, here we go, Leah. Should I let you do all the talking?
Yeah, I'd love to. No, just kidding. I'm kind of shy, so if you...
Yeah, all right. Well, I'll do my best. I'm a little shy too. Well, not actually, but I don't know. I feel like I've got the weight of the world on my shoulders, and I might screw it up, you know.
You'll be fine.
Oh, thank you, Leah. All right. Here we go. Ka-ding, ka-ding. And it says DT Bank, Duluth Trust.
That's right, it does. So inside, it's kind of a ritzy-looking place for how small it is. A lot of kind of well-cut. It's not marble, but it's like shiny, polished stone floor. And there is a cup. There's like I guess not a reception, a teller, I guess.
Okay.
And then you can see there's like a second room, like an office, and you recognize the woman in the office as the banker, Serene.
Serene. Is she speaking with anyone?
Nope, she's by herself. She's doing paperwork, looks like. She's got a long quill out and she's scratching away. Her desk is comically mounted with paper.
And I look to the teller.
Yes.
Because I don't know, am I supposed to speak to the teller first? And then book an appointment? Do you think it matters, Leah?
Leah's like, and there's like a spindly half-elf man who kind of unfolds himself from behind the desk where he was sitting on a tall stool.
Hello?
Yes, can I help you?
Why, yes, certainly you might be able to. I'd like to, well, my friend and I, Leah, we'd like to book an appointment with Serene. Does she have any time available?
Just one moment, please. And he kind of like strolls over to her office and knocks on the window. She looks
I give
up.
Leah the thumbs up.
Yeah, and she beckons him inside, and he kind of just like gives you guys the thumb. And she kind of looks at you for a second, and she's like, like gives you like a side, and then another side, and then she says a couple of words, and then the teller comes out. She'll see you now, and you can see that she's like rearranging shit on her desk.
Oh, don't mind us. We don't mind the mess. I grew up in one, if you know what I mean. Actually, no, I didn't. I was quite well off.
Yes, well, I can see that from the cut of your clothing, sir. And who may I have the honor of addressing? And she stands up. She's kind of like a middle-aged human woman.
Well, I do believe it is
short, curly brown hair.
Short, curly brown hair, too.
Yeah.
My name is Quintus Gray, and this is Leah.
Hi!
And,
Nice to meet you. Hello, yes. And what can I do for you this afternoon?
Well, it shouldn't be long. Do you mind if we take a seat?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Could you bring another chair in, please? And he does.
Oh, excellent. Well, we're new in town. Have you seen us around?
Yes, I saw you at the execution this morning. Quite the affair for out-of-towners, isn't it?
It
Are
is.
you looking to invest in property, or what brings you to our little town of Zoanth?
Well, to be perfectly honest, I hadn't thought about investing in property. But it doesn't really seem like the time right now. I mean, would it be a smart investment for me at this time with all that you're going through right now?
Well,
offense.
unfortunately, in order to give you my professional opinion, you will have to pay me for your time.
Ah, I see. All right, no professional opinion, please. Nothing of that sort.
Ha 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 ha!
You have a charming laugh.
Oh, thank you.
All right, well,
And
we're
Leah's
new in
like,
town.
what were we going to ask her?
That's a good question. I was getting to that, Leah. Just give me a moment.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
So, we are actually from... Have you heard of the Undefeated? The Undefeated, ma'am?
No.
No? All right. Well, I'll give you the quick 2-second explanation. Basically, we are a faction made up of people who know how to fight, who know how to help people, and we're basically picking up the pieces after a fracture. And we came to this town, and we saw maybe some pieces that needed picking up. And we saw the hanging this morning, and we just wanted to know, how do you feel about the hanging?
Well, that's an interesting and complicated question.
It is.
I feel good about the elimination of criminals from a town that sorely needs justice. And I'm always sad to have to be the one to figure out whether a person is worthy of dying on the end of a rope or not.
Right. Well, after the hangings, would you say that you feel a lot safer? Do you feel like your problems have been solved?
I feel like I'm doing my part to help make this town more livable, given the situations that we're in these days.
Now, just meta, her at the execution, did she leave early?
I can't remember. Does anyone remember? I think she got down off of the platform around the same time as the captain of the guard. The captain of the guard scooted away into the barracks building. And then you guys followed him there. I think she left to go back to work pretty much right away.
All right. Yeah. Well, in terms of the hangings, I mean, it's justice. Justice needs to be done. Right, Leah?
Yeah.
And it's you who's meting out this justice, right? Yourself, the Mayor Leslie, and the Captain of the Guard, correct?
That's right. Well, we are the most educated people in this town, and we are well, Leslie is elected, and so she provides the swing vote if there's ever an issue between myself and the captain.
Ah, I see. So Leslie is an elected mayor.
That's correct, yes.
Oh. Now, I've heard that taxes have been raised, and I imagine you have watched that happen?
Yes, well, it's good for the town coffers.
Aye. And the town is doing all right because of that?
If it weren't for those damned sprites, if I could put them on trial, I would.
Yes. Well, they are quick little buggers, aren't they? Eh?
Oh, have you seen them?
Oh, I just imagine. I mean, it's called a sprite. The word sprightly is called sprightly for a reason, right? There's that laugh again. Oh, goodness. Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, I'm just curious. I had a few questions. Leah, did you have any more questions to ask?
I was interested, ma'am, in, I guess, a little bit more about how you guys do the whole judge thing, how that works. Like, I guess the guy who we saw get murdered, executed, killed this morning. Who decided that he was guilty?
Was it unanimous?
Serene kind of looks off into the middle distance at nothing in particular, and she's like, well, it's not necessarily for visitors to the town to be asking questions like this.
No.
Are
it
you
isn't.
novice lawyers and judges, or what makes you curious about this man? Are you vigilantes in training yourselves?
No, not necessarily vigilantes. But as you said, justice is important, and I'm just curious about the justice system. Not that I'm doubting it in any way, but I'm just curious. We are curious about how it works.
Roll persuasion for me.
All right, I will do that for you. Let's see here. I haven't been rolling well at all this campaign. Let's see. Oh, I rolled a d6. That's probably not going to help.
Classic.
Okay, 14.
She's like, well, to tell you the truth, often the captain and I are at odds. But I think that it all works out in the end.
So you're telling me that the captain wanted to hang this person, but you didn't?
Well, the captain was the one who discovered that he was stealing all those horses.
Oh. And no other witnesses, just him, eh?
Well, he conducted the investigation, so...
Ah, I see. And why were you at odds? Why did you disagree with that? I mean, he conducted the investigation.
Honestly, when you've lived in a town that's this dangerous, the roads in and out of it being what they are, you see a lot of violence. This man who was hung this morning was said to have been a murderer. And I saw the body. Anyway.
You saw the body? Where did they put that body? Did they bury it with the rest of the townsfolk, or did they burn it or something?
What did you say your name is again?
Quintus. My name's Quintus.
Quintus, yes. Well, I think you've been as curious as you should be today, Quintus.
You are 100% correct. I am sorry. I've pushed the lines as I always do. Leah, are you ready?
Yeah, absolutely. If we have any more questions about investment, we'll definitely come by, for sure. Yep. And so Serene stands up and leads you to the door and opens the door to her office into the hall.
All right. Thank you very much, Serene. Have yourself a lovely day. You, sir, Mr. You, I hope you have a good day too.
He just waves like very long fingers at you.
That's nice. I like that wave. All right. And then we head our way out.
As we approach the front door, because we probably would have left at the same time then.
You guys want to do...
Yeah. I wouldn't mind running into them outside. Oh, that... Sure. No, we still have about 15 minutes, I think.
Let's brief. All right. Well, Graham, Tados.
Yeah.
We survived.
What did you find out?
We met a scary woman.
Very scary. Oh, her laugh. Oh, my goodness.
What did she tell you about
That's what she sounded like. She was like, ha, 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 ha.
Yeah, she laughed like this.
All right, when you're done.
Is that what that was? I heard it out in the courtyard here.
You could hear it too. I'm not surprised.
We found out some pretty interesting information. The healer, revealed that she was not allowed to assist with Rowan's wife's birth, or delivery rather. Her name was Bernice. She died as the child did, and they were both buried in a cemetery north of town. which I think might be interesting to investigate. Perhaps under cover of darkness, to find out exactly what was buried.
Speaking of people buried, this the people who've been hanged, but actually the people who've committed crimes, the horse thief, did he kill somebody actually, Meta? OOG?
He was accused of it.
He was accused of killing someone. She said she saw the body.
And then she told you basically to get her off.
Yeah.
Oh, did she? Well, you know what? This might afford an opportunity. By splitting up, it gives Tados and I the opportunity to perhaps speak with her as well. Maybe not as directly, because obviously she will
don't
assume
tell her that you're with the Undefeated, because I already said that.
Definitely would not.
And also, don't tell her... Actually, a good approach is to tell her that you're interested in investing or defeating the sprites.
You might have to pay her for her time. She seemed kind of reluctant to give us any important information.
That's all right. I think I can do away with a few gold coins if it means that we can help this poor town. Ultimately, what did she say? Did you get the impression that she was evil, that she was in cahoots with...
Well, actually, we asked her about the guard and how they do their judging process, and she said that her and the guard captain are often in disagreement.
Really?
And so she did not want to hang that fella that just went down on the gallows. She, even though the guard captain conducted his investigation, obviously there's some trust issues there.
Which makes a lot of sense. All right, so it seems like we can trust her then, relatively. If
the price is right, I think.
Well, I'm more saying if the mayor is the swing vote in the three of them, it's obvious that the mayor is attached to the guard captain. Which is also interesting to question maybe when they started their romance, because if it was around the time of Bernice's death...
Hey, that's an interesting angle, actually. Like, the romance between them, I wonder what her opinion of that is.
What I thought was most interesting about the healer was that she was not the person to deliver Bernice, meaning, if I understood correctly, that no one was there for Bernice's death besides Rowan. Meaning...
That is exactly what I understood based on the conversation.
So there's always the possibility that Bernice is not actually dead.
But based on what you told me, Bernice was the one who told her not to come.
Correct.
Do you think that... Well, I don't know.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If Bernice told her not to come and then passed away during birth, something seems fishy. Perhaps there were other motivations. Something about it seems off, and ultimately I think investigating the house is, in my opinion, actually moved down a little bit more. If the child was being born at home, if Bernice, and it's a great stately manner, you said, yeah?
Yeah.
Which to me breeds the possibility of a great number of questions. And if the mayor is also in sort of the pocket of him, it makes me concerned about what sort of might be going on inside.
Do we know about whether or not... I mean, I haven't seen that place, but do they have neighbors, maybe? I mean, if you're going to go in and speak with Serene, maybe Leia and I can speak with the neighbor, see if they heard anything 2 years ago that was strange, or saw something.
Sorry, I misunderstood, apparently. I forgot that the...
Oh.
So there was a...
Misunderstood your memory.
Yeah. So there was a midwife, but would the health professional... would Shoke know who the midwife they went with was?
Sorry, I was referring to the wealthy friend stranger.
The attractive woman.
Yeah, the attractive woman who passed through town. I didn't really understand.
That wasn't during the birth, though, was it?
She left after Bernice died.
Oh.
But I mean, does that...
Oh.
Wealthy woman?
That's very
bank?
mysterious.
I'm not drawing any conclusions. Am I missing something?
I just wanted to... You said she was alone when she gave birth. I just wanted to remind you that there was probably
another
someone else.
person there.
Oh. I didn't get the impression that it was that sort of relationship. That's different. Okay, so like they were like close.
Wow.
Interesting. Okay, so that does. So then I would share that information too, because that changes things. Interesting.
Maybe if we speak to the banker about this wealthy woman.
Well,
Wealth and banks seem to go hand in hand. Perhaps she had some dealings. and
Exactly,
maybe there's
yeah.
some insight.
I think that's a good angle. Yeah. It's a good angle.
Well,
good idea, Tados.
What about
Good angle, everyone.
what about the sprites? Could we use them to investigate the house? Say if
Yeah,
that
so
is
the
anything
sprites
important.
have been away from us. They said that they wanted to go back to their forest.
Mhm.
But anytime we want to reconnect with them, they said that they would be happy to help us out. So,
I'm cautious about sending the sprites in, being that the sprites were aware of an evil within town, and that the god captain is well aware of the sprite problem. I feel like he would probably be on absolute guard for any sprite mishaps whatsoever, which is why I was very tentative about having them touch anybody in the first place. Because the minute someone even sees a sprite, they know exactly what it is, you know.
probably going to try to murder it.
Not to mention, the Shoke mentioned that there were anti-sleeping potions that they were giving out, meaning that people were probably expecting them to come at certain times as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if the god captain has measures in place to prevent sprites from entering his home.
Could be.
Very thought-provoking.
Maybe. Well, I don't know. I think that there's still potential. I don't know if you would have thought that far ahead, but is it worth the risk? Maybe not.
Personally, I think if
Look.
potions are being crafted to combat sleeping, that means they're widespread enough that they are affecting many, many people. And I think if he is a fiend, which we know he is, he would be, again, maybe not preventative, but he would definitely be looking for sprites and casting magic.
I just had some thoughts here.
lay
One.
it on us,
Just
Tados.
collected a bunch of thoughts while we were talking.
One.
I got some thoughts here. Who wants to see the thoughts?
I do.
Firstly, if the captain is a fiend, what probability is there that the other potentials that we have, the banker, Leslie, the mayor, do they think or know or have any idea that the captain may be a fiend? And are they with them or against them? Number two, if we are trying to capture the captain, either as the fiend or not, maybe we should, instead of just investigating the home, actually capture the captain when he comes home, trap the fiend.
Well,
And that's all I have.
to answer your first question, yes, that is exactly what we're trying to understand, whether they are working together. I think, based on what you guys have just understood, well, I don't think... Well, we don't know whether the fiend is well known yet, and I don't necessarily think that the mayor would be turned off of the fact that he was a fiend. I don't think it's something we can say, oh, it's a fiend, and then she says... She very well could say, I know, I'm very well aware. But more so, trapping him, especially as how dangerous and powerful he might be, I think could be a bad idea at this point in time. Until we understand it a little bit more.
I suppose. Plus, in the wilderness with the sprites and the fae, we do have some backup, if you will. Some army behind us.
Definitely.
Do the sprites know that he's a fiend? That we've found him?
Well, they said
Perhaps
that...
we could
Yeah,
recruit
I
their
think
help.
we mentioned that.
Yeah, because because I think I sent the sprite into the building to look at what I saw through the wall. So they were there when we went outside, we said, so yeah, they would know.
You
Okay.
actually...
Sorry,
you actually had one of the... you had Lord Dewdrop go on through.
Yeah,
with
And he
you.
saw the fiend, yeah.
that's what I was saying, yeah. Well, he couldn't get under the door, but then he went in, and then, yeah. So yeah, they are aware.
We felt their presence.
Okay, they're aware. I just had a thought. So what are we trying to do, like, that for the sprites? Like, do they really care that there's a fiend in the town, or do they just care that their forest is being destroyed? Or is the fiend causing the forest to be destroyed more than...
Like, are the fiends natural enemies to the sprites?
I think the sprite, well, I mean, I think, I was the one who said, but the sprites were like, our forest is getting destroyed, A, and there's an evil presence. Maybe that's related?
So how is...
It wasn't getting destroyed a couple of years ago.
How is the evil presence related to the...
Well, that's the thing, and I think
Did
ultimately
you
it's
want to
gonna...
roll insight to figure it out, or?
I I'd like
You wanna
someone
use
to
your-
roll insight.
Sure, I'll do
Brain
it. Is there a way to do it? I'll do insight, I
Yeah,
guess.
just roll insight straight up
How
and
they
down.
might relate. 11 plus 5. 16.
May have to do with the fact that the farmers are getting extorted for a lot of money. They are being forced to
Oh, why the... Yeah.
expand their
Oh, right, the mayor.
fields.
No, we remember...
Taxes.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
But why are the taxes being raised? That's then the
Taxes
question.
back down. Allow the farmers
Who's raising
to
the
make more
taxes?
money off the land they have.
And who is...
There's an ecosystem here to think about, and we will think about that while we do the mid-game post! That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is the time of the show where we stop the action. We jump to you, our Facebook community, our loving watching community, and we say, hey, how are you guys doing? I hope you're having fun. We're having a
washroom
blast
community.
over here. Hello, washroom community. We're going to jump to the Discord. Let's go back to Facebook, because I don't really... Well, no, I guess Discord makes more sense, because everyone's there right now, but I don't think we have... Oh, mid-game post. It's right below episode 3. Let me clone this.
Duh!
A
Hello!
lot of does today. What's the question for this week, Joe?
Oh, that's a great question.
That's the question. What's the...
This is going to be easy for people who are interested in funny names. What's the name of the blacksmith? Not the person, but the smithy.
Oh, the actual building.
Yeah.
Oh.
What's the name of the building? Yeah. So ask, answer, asked and answered. I think we changed. Yeah. Okay. It's going to be interesting.
What the name of the building?
What the name of the building?
What?
Oops.
The name. Oh, the building.
Edit.
What? The name of the building.
Smith.
What is the name of the building?
Blacksmith.
Hope everyone's having fun so far. It's a heck of a time over here on the Streamland. And the credits worked at the beginning, so that was a big plus.
Yeah.
Because last week they didn't. No, see, the problem is we did a lot of like funny ones, but there was only one true name. I think maybe. Oh, I shouldn't say who got it right yet.
Yeah, don't say.
Did you type it out? Yeah. Okay. Stupid.
I think we should take this as well as a possibility. 'Cause
No,
it
someone
was
got
really-
closer.
I know.
Oh.
If you're Justin, why don't you pitch a little bit of the community game that you're running? I mean,
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the community game has been going well. All of the members of the Undefeated, the new recruits, have been doing their training, led by Sergeant Flint. And just this past Monday, they'd been woken up from their slumber. Oh, the alarm's going off.
Fire.
It's on the computer. Anyways, that's it. It's a great community game. I'm gonna go turn off that alarm.
Well done, Justin. So that's right. If you're
nice.
interested in how that works, go to www.
It's done.
Oh, good. Continue.
www.facebook.com.
I was-
Join the Steam group. Every Monday we run a community game, and it's always different. Every week is a different kind of mission. Sometimes it's just like a writer's prompt. Sometimes I actually have you guys rolling die.
I really loved the mechanic that you pulled out this past week with so people can't just be like, I rolled a 20. There's like a rolling matrix that you randomly assign to numbers, which I thought was really, really smart.
Yeah. So for the combat, I had this matrix rolled up, and I'll do a new one for next time. But then whenever someone would roll a 1d20, I would do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever this is. Is that 20? Based on view. So then like on the matrix they rolled a 20, but then it's like an 8. It actually turns into an 8, which kind of sucks if you rolled a natural 20. But if you rolled like a 12 and you're like, oh shit, I rolled a 12, then it's a natural 20 and you're like, oh shit, I win. And then I would rotate it and then like just change it, and whenever I looked down at the page, that was the rotation that I used. So
Awesome.
it worked really well, and it kept things random.
Well conceived.
Very well conceived.
Very well conceived.
Keeps people honest.
Yeah.
because we all know
thank
how
you.
dishonest
It was-
those people can be.
Well-conceived
fun to read,
thoughts by a
too.
well-conceived person.
What were you gonna say, Joe?
It was well conceived. It was fun to read. Good job all
It was
around.
very fun to read all of the character comments.
Mhm.
Everybody's really stepping up their rating game to describe how they defeat these sand golems. So awesome job, everybody. Keep it up.
Well done.
We have 2 people that almost got it. I think maybe we should just do that.
Sure.
As far as the mid-game post, Godpool wrote Hammer Smack, and also Paul wrote Hammer Smack or Hammer Shack. It was Hammer Smacky.
So we'll go.
Odd is Godpool, even is Paul.
I was going to do 1 to 2 to Godpool 3, but either way, I think that works. Oh no, that doesn't. That goes the opposite. Let's roll again, and we'll say 1 to 2 to Godpool, 3 to 4 to Paul. Paul, you in the mid-game post.
Paul.
Now, I'll be honest, I'm really happy to see someone other than Godpool win, because Godpool, hats off to you. You're
Nothing against-
always on the ball. I'm very happy to see you winning, but if you always win, then you're going to be the only viewer all the time.
Exactly.
Kidding. But
All right.
Invictus
I'm
Stream,
glad you
sponsored
got
by
it correct.
Godpool.
You will probably get next week's mid-game post. So keep it on.
Well done, guys. Good answers. Good question. Without further ado, back to the game.
It was Hammer Smacky, Paul.
Yeah.
Hammer Smacky, Paul. All right. So the sprites are attacking the town because their trees are being cut back. The trees are being cut back by the farmers. This is Graham in character, I guess. And the trees are being cut back by the farmers because their taxes are being raised. So ultimately, this all comes down to the taxes. Who benefits most from these? You said the banker mentioned something about it replenishing the coffers. Does it end up in her pockets directly?
She didn't really make any indication about that. She just said that it fattened the town's coffers or something like that.
So the
What's a
question
coffer?
I assume it's when you have a tickle in your throat. I don't know, actually.
COFF.
Yes,
Here,
I know
I
the
think
spell.
coffer is
A strong
like,
box or a
what-
small chest. Okay, so the question is, ultimately, who's benefiting most by raising these taxes? Now, my thinking is if 3 people are on this... Oh, wait a minute.
The council. The town council.
No, it seems like they're systematically picking people to be executed. The question is why. I mean, they may be guilty, but obviously the banker feels like there's some sort of cahoots between the mayor and the captain of the guard. They're selecting people to kill. There must be some outlying benefit to these specific people who are dying, because the death rate has gone up significantly and the taxes have gone up significantly. And maybe the taxes are there to pay off the banker so that she'll vote a certain way, but after what you said you spoke to her, it seems like she is of her own mind and that the mayor is the final deciding vote. Ultimately, we need to figure out who's getting paid and where this money is going. I feel like that's the big question mark to why all this is happening. Which means the banker is the person to speak to.
Agreed. Or it's the place to break into at night.
I think a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B might be substantially beneficial.
At this point, Leah looks at the sky and she goes, "Oh my god, it must be 4 o'clock by now."
Yeah.
Whoa.
I'm not too worried
Well-
about breaking into the guy's house anymore, really. I mean,
No, but just that we know that ostensibly where one person is in this town who is kind of known to be on patrol often.
who's that?
What?
The guard captain is often here and there. Can't really predict necessarily where he'll be, except for probably when there's an execution, because he's often on patrols. Just
Right.
that we had asked to meet him somewhere specifically. So that was Leah, i.e. me, being like, hey, it's 4 p.m. We know where the guard captain is.
Did we say we were going to meet him at 4 at the thing?
Yep.
Oh, I remember saying after shift. I didn't write down the time though. Okay.
I think it was around 4, yeah.
Okay. So why don't we divide and conquer once again, and maybe Tados and I should speak with the banker under a new form of questioning, and you and Leah, Quintus, speak with the captain of the guard. But I'm cautious about this fucking guy.
Captain of the guard? What do you want me to ask him? Are you a thief? And are you taking all the money from the townfolk?
I'm not very charismatic, so I don't know how to do
I've
that.
got you covered, Leah. But seriously, what am I supposed to ask him?
No, you're
well,
right.
did
You're
you enjoy your beer?
Maybe we could ask him about his wife.
I could just stall him.
No,
if you feel like, I'll just meet with him and say, we decided not to kill the sprites after all.
Ask him how he likes murdering people. Oh, no,
How
wait.
do you like murdering people?
What
Gotcha! It's like a trick.
The mayor was talking about maybe lending him or some guards out to us. We could, I don't know, talk about that. We could ask him how long he's been
Oh, all right.
a guard captain for.
We get him drunk, and then we find out what his ambitions are, what he wants
He
to do
doesn't
in life.
drink.
Why not?
He's a pious man.
Anybody
That's
who ever
right.
called me a fiend, it was because of alcohol.
What do you guys want to do?
I want to speak
Why
to the
don't-
banker. I feel like everything, we need to find out where the money is coming from. To me, that's the whole, or why the taxes are being raised. I mean, that's like the first thing we were talked about when we came to town, like the taxes. So we need to figure that out.
I could go in
Conclusively.
and talk to the banker.
I'm going to go in as well, for sure, because I think I
She
have,
did say that it's good for the city's coffers, but
which are chests, apparently. But I mean, more so, like, to me, that doesn't seem, I also want to get insight on that and understand if she's being legit or if she's lying. And I think
Why don't-
ultimately there's this trading going on. Someone's paying off somebody to do something because something has changed in the last 2 years. And there's a piece of the puzzle that we're not quite getting just yet.
Why don't we run through that interaction, and then Justin, if you want to figure out what you want Quintus and Leah to be up to in the meantime, we can head back there afterwards.
Right.
So the two of you head over to
Now,
bank?
Graham, before we step into the bank, I just want to go over a few things, a few ideas. Number one, if I create an illusion that I have a big bag of gold, it might throw the banker off and make them more interested to speak with us. I could also change my own figure to appear like a much more statured person.
To me, the biggest reveal of Leah and Quintus's conversation was that she voted against the captain, which means she is not on the same side as the captain and not on the same side as the mayor. Which means, for whatever plan they have unfolded, she is largely unaware of it. My biggest fear was that all three of them voted in unison every single time. Something about this woman seems like, while her motivations may be relatively impure, financially speaking, I feel like she's probably someone that we can trust, and I don't think we necessarily need to be devious in order to deal with her. Rather, to maybe perhaps even pay her. I think she's largely motivated by money.
I seem to gather the opposite. Rather that even though she didn't see to eye with the captain, that she was still dishonest and would be very difficult to trust.
She may be dishonest, but ultimately, if it comes down that we need an ally in the three of them, she would be the only person to turn to, because the mayor is obviously favorable to the captain of the guard, and she seems relatively nonpartisan, at least when it comes to him and her. And if there's anyone to come with the information of him being a fiend, it would be the banker.
Well, put it this way, Graham, if at any point in the conversation you decide that it might be helpful for me to create an illusion, just let me know.
Yeah. I definitely want a bribe. That's like what I'm trying to get at. I think she's largely motivated by money. So let's do that, because I have money. Not copious amounts, but 20.
Why not create the illusion that we
Let's
have
just
a lot?
bribe her for real. Because
Fine.
illusion money is only going to get us to the point of putting it in her hand. And then she's going to be like, wait a minute, this isn't
But
real.
of course,
That's
what
an
I
illusion.
is.
What are you trying to pull?
I will give you this.
What spell are you thinking of using? Minor illusion?
I have one here.
Because that might not be the case. Like, maybe she will
minor
believe
illusion.
that that is real.
Yeah. Minor illusion.
I just feel like
read me the text of that.
You create a sound or an image of an object within range that lasts for the duration. The illusion also ends if you dismiss it. Blah blah blah. Whisper, scream, or row. You could choose a sound. I think it says something such as chair, muddy footprints, or a small chest.
So
No larger than a 5-foot cube.
Make it look like you had a lot of money. And what's the duration?
A minute.
Yeah.
So
you
really,
make
it would
look like
all I would need to do would be pull it out of my pocket, a big bag of gold, and say, I want to put my money in here, but I need to be able to trust you, or something along those lines.
All right,
So
but
you
what's
could
your-
potentially use that illusion if you're clever about it. Just
what's
don't
your
give
deception?
her a fake
What's your
bag of
exit
money.
strategy, though?
She can't touch it. Yeah.
and what's your deception? Because that's what you're going to be rolling.
I don't know. Maybe if you're just like, because I want this to work. Like, it's cool.
It's an illusion. They have to roll against my DC.
I know.
Essentially, if you were just kind of
I
trying
don't
to
have to
prove
deceive
that
them.
you're a wealthy dude, you could pretend to have a bag of money that you're maybe not necessarily going to give her today.
All right, and still use the bribe, like the
Yeah.
actual money bribe.
Yeah.
In fact, you know what? I'm even gonna go one up there, and before we even walk in, I am going to change my appearance by using. Can I use minor illusion on top of minor illusion or no? Oh wait, no,
What
disguise self. I was gonna use disguise self.
Is
My
it
level 1
concentration?
spell.
Concentration. I'm just not sure if you can have two different spells going with concentration simultaneously.
What if he's really concentrating?
Just really, really hard. It might be that you have to roll. Let me just look it up.
Spell 1 foot.
Do 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 do. Concentration. Casting another spell that uses concentration. Yeah, you can't cast two spells that use concentration. I'm not sure if minor illusion is a spell with concentration or not,
How
or
would
disguise
you know?
self. It would be like something that is listed at the top of the spell. It would say duration, like 1 minute or concentration.
It does not say that.
Yeah, so then you could definitely cast both of them.
Disguise, self, casting time and action, self, duration 1 hour.
There, it would be duration 1 hour, concentration, or something.
No,
along
it
those
doesn't
lines.
say anything.
Cool, cool, cool. So yeah, you could totally do that.
So yeah, I'm going to make myself. I will look the same, except I'll have a big gold chain and like a bit of a.
Fuck yeah.
I'm wearing fur like collar, like
So you're like a
leopard
pimp.
fur skin. Yeah, exactly. With a crown,
Amazing.
a little crown.
Fuck yeah. This is great.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys go into the bank. Graham, do you want to do anything before you
I
go
think
in?
I'm gonna hang back and come in separately just in case, because I feel like
No, I have to come in with you.
why?
You're the talker.
But I feel like if
He's-
it's a big pivot for if it goes wrong, then we have no backup. I want to.
Just do it.
What? Okay, fine.
Like I don't have to. Fine, I won't.
No. I don't want. You should definitely do it. I'm just thinking that like if I hear and it works, I'll walk in. I'll be like, sorry, I'm late. But if it doesn't, I don't want to be. She's like, get out, and we're like, well, now we have
do you
no
mean?
backup. I don't know. If
It's
she
magic, man. This
doesn't
looks
see your,
real.
I don't
It
know what's
looks
going on.
Fucking real.
Okay,
It looks
fine.
real.
Okay,
You're
fine.
looking at me
Okay,
right
fine.
now. You're standing next to me, and it
Yeah,
looks real. And
but-
the only way you wouldn't know is if you touched me.
Right.
All
What
right.
if she's like, let me see the chest? Fine, let's do it. Let's do it.
No,
will show her.
you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. I was just thinking about the stream.
No,
specifically,
it
that
does.
they're probably not
Peer
interested in
pressure.
listening
Peer
to
pressure.
the same
Peer
NPC
pressure.
talk.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Okay, you're right. Forgive me. I will go in and we'll do it together. Okay.
Okay. I'm not gonna deal with the guy at the counter. He allows you to go and see Serene, and
I kind of poke my nose up as I walk in. Yes.
she's like,
The manager.
And I say, greetings. This is the exultant Mr. Tados, and he wishes to speak with the banker. Are you the banker?
That is me. And she stands up from her chair and shakes both of your hands.
Yes.
You,
I
with
give a flimsy kind of shake.
with your passive perception, Graham, you notice that Serene is definitely subtly sort of trying to gauge like the carats of the gems that Tados is wearing, and then also I will say that with a passive perception of 20, you notice that she is writing up the accounts of George Lazenby.
Not George Lazenby again.
This guy's taking a beating in this campaign.
Is he a guy from something?
Yeah, he's an
He
actor.
played Bond, didn't he?
He played James Bond
I don't
once.
know shit about movies.
He was the worst James Bond. He was Australian. Anyway, okay. Interesting. Is that just a throwaway, or should we actually be looking into George Lazenby now?
I don't know, dude. That's up to you.
He met with the mayor and with the banker. That's
So
something.
she sits down and she's like, and now what can I do for you two gentlemen? I do have to get home for supper in a little bit. Will this...
Oh, well, if you have somewhere to be, then come, Graham. We'll take our money elsewhere.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh,
I will deposit my
no.
thousands of gold pieces somewhere that cares to stay.
I'm sorry. That was terribly rude of me.
That's good.
Oh.
How can I assist you fine gentlemen?
Well, as I said,
she's willing to help us now.
Well, she's obviously come to reason, Tados, and I'm glad to see it for all your vast riches. Miss, sorry, I didn't catch your last name.
It's Crawley.
Crowley. Yeah. I think we want to make a deposit in your bank, but obviously this is relatively small compared to what the great Honorable Tados is used to. How do we know we can trust your facilities?
Oh, well, I assure you we have a very exceptional guard. There's
One guard?
No.
Sorry, you have
town-
one guard for the entire bank.
No, the town guard is exceptional. There are no vagabonds who come in through, and we have quite a very thorough justice system for those people who we do decree thieves.
Who is this justice system that you speak of? Who comprises in this small town?
A learned coterie of exceptional individuals. And so I'm sure you will find your investment well protected. Is there...
The entire town guard watches your vault, or one particular?
We have a number of magical wards and sigils.
And do you have a captain of the guard, and is he someone that can be trusted with this amount of money?
Yes, Rowan Estall, Captain Rowan Estall is a well-celebrated man of not little reputation. Perhaps you've heard of his exploits. What is the amount that you're hoping?
I want to roll insight on when she talks about Rowan.
Yeah, sure.
And I wanted to push it too, and just kind of say to her, and this Rowan, this captain of the guard, this is someone that you trust with the entire bankroll of the bank. Mm-hmm. Sorry, just to prompt that.
No, that's great.
Oh, not very good though. 7 plus 5, I think. Yeah, 12.
I've rolled well. I won't tell you, but she is. She's trying her best to sell you on this village.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but I hope you understand, Miss Crawley,
Yes.
that I have been deceived before, and I am not ready to place my money in just any establishment without, of course, the proper meetings. In fact, I would prefer to have a face-to-face meeting with the captain of the guard Otherwise, this is all for nothing, and I will take my money elsewhere.
And I try to I stop Tados. I say, no, Tados, let's give this one a chance. This is the 6th bank that we've said no to, and I'm sure. And I try to now play the middle ground so that she starts leaning on me a bit. And I say, and I'm sure Serene here would be most able to help us in any way we need. Is that fair, Serene? And I'll roll a persuasion.
Well.
So 17.
Okay. Most certainly, yes. Have you gentlemen been in town long? Seen everything the land has to offer?
We've seen enough to understand that this is a relatively small place.
Yeah.
How big is your? How big can your bank be? I mean, how much money are you collecting from these people? There's farmers. There's very few.
Oh, we're managing quite well, thank you. It's a very well-established community. Will you be staying long? Perhaps we can arrange a meeting with the captain of the guard tomorrow.
Perhaps.
Yes, I suppose we may. Now, as far as your town, I must say I'm not impressed by the land that's being burnt on the way in. I'm not very fond of this farmland. I wish it were more trees and mountains, but very much so. We will continue this conversation. Perhaps you may contact the captain and set up a meeting for tomorrow.
You mentioned that you are well established here, that you are collecting money from these peasants, these people who are around here. How could you be collecting much from them? It doesn't seem like they have very much. How large is your bank?
I mean, the holdings of the bank are irrelevant to our transaction.
Well, if putting 1,000 gold coins in is the largest sum of money that you do not know how to understand, and your people are starving.
Excuse me, do not know how to understand a mere 1,000 gold.
I said 100,000. I don't know how much is a lot.
That's very much gold.
That's 10,000 then.
Okay. I don't know, man. This is weird conversation. None of us know anything about banking.
I was going to walk in, put money down, and say, tell me everything I need to know. I don't know what this is now. It's like a weird keeping up appearances skit.
I'm just
So,
I don't know how to include this line of questioning into the creation of this character. It's weird. It's like how do you play up the idea that he's being like rich, but also find out how much they're charging people for taxes? That's a tough get.
Why do you need to know how much they're charging?
That's what I was curious.
Well, I want to know how much they're charging. Because that would lead to who then is charging them that much. Like, is she the person who sets the
Well, then
bar?
next question. If I do decide to move here, how much are you going to charge me for taxes?
Oh, well, that's an interesting question. What kind of land are you looking for?
Let's say...
And I go on to describe Marguerite's property. Verbatim, but not using the address.
Right. She's like, well, it's 10% annually, etc., etc. So she tells you kind of like higher than you would be expecting.
Those are high taxes. Who sets this rate?
Well, that would be the mayor, of course, Leslie. She is acting under, she has to deal with the appointed taxes set by the Baroness. The numbers come down through her, and then we need to take extra to ensure the guards. We have to pay the town guards to protect the citizens, of course.
And the Baroness, you speak of the Baroness in Orjak.
Yes, that's right. Perhaps you know her, Yvonne?
Yes.
Naresh?
We've been acquainted before. You see, people of my high profile, we often come in contact with baronesses and barons.
He was
I wish
bequeathed
I'd roll
at one
a
point.
performance check, because that is outlandish for you.
Huh?
Roll performance check for me. Performance, I guess, is more like music. No, dude, you're fucking acting.
Okay, fine. I'll roll a performance.
Or deception, whichever you prefer.
Deception would be preferred.
Great. Roll deception for me.
So it's a 10. I have a +5 in deception, so 15.
Okay, yeah, she sort of raises an eyebrow that maybe you were acquainted to the Baroness, but buys it.
Cool.
I want to do a perception just to see if there's like an accounting book open or something like that. Or on
Yeah,
the
you
shelf.
already read it. It's about.
Oh, that was the
George
accounting book.
Lazenby's account. Yeah.
Perfect. So that must break down who gets paid what amounts from these taxes. So let's just steal that.
Sleight of hand?
Or look at it. I don't know. I mean,
What do you want
why don't you ask for a tour? Or I say to Tados, I say, perhaps, Tados, you would like a tour of the bank.
The safe. Yes, of course. If I'm going to place my 100,000 gold pieces here,
Then and at that I cast my minor illusion and I pull out of my pocket, and I totally act it up because it doesn't weigh anything. But I pull out of a knapsack this massive bag of gold.
if I'm going to deposit this, I want to ensure the facility is of good stature.
And I place it back down into my knapsack.
Graham, with your
side
passive perception of 20, you can detect the pulse in her neck just starts going crazy, but otherwise no change in her demeanor whatsoever.
And I rub my bum leg and I sit down across from her desk.
Yeah.
And being like,
So she acquiesces to a tour, but
Graham,
gonna
please
bring
watch my gold. I trust you.
of course. And I say,
And I
my old
leave my
bones need a
satchel.
rest nonetheless.
all right, fine. I'll give you 1 minute in this office to discern whatever you want.
I look at the accounting ledger and I find out where the taxes are being distributed to and how much are being collected.
I mean, it looks like a lot of it is getting taken out of the town as well. So people are being taxed heavily and then it's leaving the town. So unfortunately, this is not a wealthy town secretly. This is a town that is being milked.
Perfect. So the mayor is obviously milking it.
Or the Baroness.
Yeah, or whoever it is, I suppose, yeah. Okay.
Because would it say? Maybe you should ask. Maybe you should look if it says being paid to the captain, being paid to the guard, being paid to.
Yeah, does it break down
paid to the Baroness?
Individual names? I look at the names.
When you say leaving town, like the money's leaving town, you mean it's not being paid to the guard, to the guard Leslie,
Just a large amount.
Anybody else?
The guard is being paid out for sure, but then a chunk of it is actually going out of town to the capital.
Right.
And are Roe and Leslie,
Yeah.
or Serene taking any sort of?
They're
like,
all being
high
paid
rates?
well, but not, I mean, absurdly well. They're not making 100,000 gold pieces.
And based on, I can roll anything, I don't care, intellect or whatever, but like, is there anything that seems off about these when I run the numbers real quickly? Does it seem like maybe there's fudging going on?
Roll just intelligence.
Intelligence of 13. Plus nothing. 'cause
You
I'm not that
don't
intelligent.
think so.
Okay, then I will sit back down.
So the Serene basically brings you to the back. She shows you the vault. She talks about some magical armaments that are used to keep it protected. She introduces you to her associate, who is like an apprentice banker, essentially, who's the guy out front. Then she brings you back into her office. It's kind of a small town deal. Like there's nothing fancy.
Very nice facility.
No,
Serene.
I didn't get that impression at all. Frankly, I think we shouldn't be investing here. But that's just me.
Well, Graham, I'm simply being kind. It is a very nice facility for such a small town. But, of course, my mind has not been made up yet. I do wish to meet with the captain of the guard, and sooner than later would be better.
And we walk outside.
Would be much nicer.
Certainly. She would like to know where you're staying tonight, so that she can send word to you in the morning when your appointment is to be.
I say the name of the
You
tavern. The Broom,
The Barrel and the Bloom.
Bloom and Barrel.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Is there anything? Yeah. Okay.
Justin, what are Quintus and Leah up to? Or, if anything, maybe we're just having a coffee.
Well, actually, we were just standing there in the middle of the road getting pissed on. And then I just started walking away down toward where I saw the stables were.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, Leah. I've got an idea.
All right, where are we going?
I want to see some horses. Do you like horses?
I do. I'm kind of scared of them, but I like them.
You know what? They're gentle giants. Unless you bother them, in which case they're not gentle giants. Still giants, though.
Fair enough. Okay, so we go down to the stables.
Yep, and I knock on the stable window.
There's a willowy-looking half-elf with like a hay in his hair that answers the door. It's like, hello there.
Hello there. How are you?
I'm well. What can I do for you?
Hello there.
Well, we just arrived this morning
the voices.
in the town. Never actually been here in this small town before. And there was a man being hanged. And they said he was a horse thief. I just wanted to come and make sure that your horse is all right. How are you doing?
Well, thank you very much. They're all right now that horse thief is hung.
Do you mind if I come in and take a look at the horses?
Yeah, of course. It's raining horses and ponies out there.
That's very true. Very true. I've never heard of that one. And so I go around the back and I look at the horses. And how many are there?
Half a dozen.
Half a dozen. Yeah. And my eyes land on one, a mare, I can tell. And I walk up to her and I say, may I?
Yeah, be my guest. Don't get around the back side of her. She likes to kick.
No. What's her name?
Snow Cloud.
Oh, Snow Cloud. She's Deluthian, correct?
She is, yeah. You're a horseman?
Well, I am. I come from Holston, see, and, well, we get horses from all over the realm, and Deluthians, not the fastest, but as reliable as a horse as you'll ever find, I'll tell you that.
Sturdy stock we have here, yeah.
That's right. And I rub my hand down her mane, and
she wickers gently and kind of like noses you.
Sir, what's your name, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, me, I'm Ryan.
Ryan. Pleasure to meet you, Ryan. You don't meet too many Ryans these days. So Richard.
Oh, it's Ryan's an old Elvish name.
Ah, I see. Yes. Well, how did the investigation impact your horses?
Well, I reckon I won't have any more of my horses stolen. There was a couple of farmers who were affected as well.
Yes. And when did the investigation start?
Oh, it was about a week ago that the captain came around and he does his rounds and makes sure everything's going all right in the countryside and around all the businesses. And I complained, and apparently it was a common problem. So he put two and two together.
You met the captain yourself?
Oh, yeah. He's a real nice guy. Very tall, shiny shoes, worry about him being here in the stables. Yeah.
Worried about him getting muck on his shoes?
Oh, yeah, the horses.
Well,
This accent's getting away from me.
Well, first of all, and I reach into my coin purse and I pull out a couple silvers. I say, I'd like to rent a horse. Times must be hard for you.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just going to leave it here. But if I do need it, maybe I'll come and get it. But here. And I give him like double the amount that you'd normally buy for a horse. How much would that be?
Yeah, I mean, you would buy a good riding horse, maybe 150 gold. So I would say if you're looking just kind of like the next day or two, probably a couple silver is good.
Yeah, a couple silver. So I'll give him 10 silver.
Cool. So
and 1 gold. I'll give him 1 gold. And
Thank you.
well, it's my understanding that things aren't looking too good these days. The farms aren't working. The animals are being stolen. Hopefully not anymore.
Now I reckon it's all cleared up by now.
And what about the taxes? Are they cleared up?
Well, no, but can't say that I've seen a goblin in a couple moons, so guards are doing all right, you know.
The guards are taking care of goblins.
Yeah, well, Mayor Leslie says that the guards gotta be paid, and we gotta, you know, keep our farms and children safe. So.
Have you heard anything about fatalities? I mean, if they're going after goblins, then there's got to be some sort of casualties, right, Leah?
Yeah, I mean, we had problems on the road. Is that very common? And he's like, yeah, well, I see a lot of the travelers as they come on through town and want to put their horses up, and I seen a couple bloody folks, I tell you. It's rough. And you know what? From one animal to another, I've heard tales of werebeasts in the woods.
Really? Werebeasts?
Lycanthropes. Lycanthropes.
Lycanthropes.
That's right.
Very interesting. Who's telling you these tales?
Oh, travelers, you know, the ones who make it out. And you hear them, you know, it's a peculiar sort of howl.
Yeah, they howl at night.
Oh, yeah?
Were they howling? How can you tell the difference between a lycanthrope and a wolf?
It's kind of a clever howl, you know? When you hear enough wolves, you know the ones that can speak common to you.
All right. Well, that's very interesting, isn't it, Leah?
Oh yes, and she's actually curled up in the corner on a big pile of hay with like a couple of barn cats. And she's
nice.
like, "What were you talking about?"
Well, this man that was hanged. Did you know him?
I mean, it's hard for it's hard for people to be in a small town and not know each other. But yeah, I knew him.
And you got along? I mean, he was stealing your horses?
Yeah, well, we didn't get along after I figured out he was stealing my horses, I tell you what.
Right. Well, with lycanthropes in the woods, you best be very careful with these.
I protect him with my life. I tell you this, with my life.
Well, you're a good man, Ryan. I thank you very much for your time, and I'll be in touch if I ever need to borrow White Snowflake here, but for now, you just enjoy that. Buy yourself a nice meal, any of your family, friends, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you much, sir. Have a good night.
Likewise.
Great.
Come on, Leah. No, you can't take them with. You can't take them with you, Leah.
There's like a cat on her back that she's like walking out the door.
Take it off. I don't like cats. I didn't like them.
What do you have against cats?
Ugh, they're sissy.
I'll take care of it, I promise.
No. Where are we going to keep it?
And as we walk out into the darkening evening, we see that Tados and Graham are just leaving the bank.
And we just say, we found out that in her ledger, a large deal of the money is going out of town, which is causing a lot of grief. No, but I believe it must be going perhaps to the capital, but the mayor might be able to tell us. But more importantly, I can't imagine that the townsfolk would be very happy about that, and she is an elected official. Maybe...
Well, the people that, I've spoken with, we went to the stables. We went to the stables, and the person we met there, nice fella named Ryan, he told us that he was, getting by, doing all right. Not the best with the taxes, but He seems to think that his money's going to a good cause.
Well, it seems like only a small percentage is actually going to the King's Guard, or to the Guard, rather.
That's awful. That's these people's livelihood.
Well, I don't think they'd be too happy to know that a large number was going out.
Well, I mean, here is an interesting thing, and it just, maybe I'm totally out of line, but speaking to Ryan, he told us that there are goblins outside of town, which we knew, and I point to the scar on my rib, and also that there are werewolves in the woods.
Where?
You hear them howling at night. Lycanthropy. People / werewolves.
I actually think you mean lycanthropes, but he had like kind of a southern twang to his voice. It was
well, that's the first time I'd heard the word said like that, and I'm sticking to it because I like it. Lycanthropy.
I kind of thought he was really cute.
Yes, he was. He was rather cute. Are you interested?
Oh, well, we're not staying in town too long, I don't think, but anyway.
Well, I think the next step would be to scope out the guards, Rowan's.
Sorry, let me finish.
Sorry.
So if the money's going out of town, the goblins, he says, aren't a problem. And it doesn't seem to me like the guards are doing anything about the goblins. I haven't heard anything about them going and defeating them. I haven't heard anything about casualties. I mean, it's a question to ask Richard, one of the Richards, when we see them. But if there haven't been any casualties and they're taking care of goblins, no injuries, we could even ask the healer. No injuries from goblins? Maybe they are paying off the goblins. Maybe that is a source of the income, or the export or whatever. I'm no banker.
Perhaps. I mean, ultimately, I think the next step is to look at the captain's home. I think scoping out his place, understanding exactly what might have happened, and perhaps catching him with his pants down, as it were. The other place the other option would be to confront him in a more public setting. I was thinking about what would it be like to confront him in front of the townsfolk at the next hanging, use that as a flat platform to discuss how the large majority of the taxes are being sent out of town and that he is in fact a fiend. What if it just comes all out in the wash?
No pun intended?
Pun intended.
Use it
You
as
know
a
what,
platform.
Graham?
Yeah.
That actually might work to a major advantage. Not only do we tell the townsfolk how their money is being spent, we also ruse out the fiend.
But we don't. We didn't know how the money's being spent.
Quintus, you know those military types too. He has command of the guard.
That's
He
right.
told them to arrest us, and I don't know if there's anything we could do about it.
Yes, but we've been acquainted with the Richards. I'm sure they would see our side.
I'm more saying that if we were standing in public, if we presented this openly, he couldn't tell the guards to arrest us in front of the town. It would be a riot. I mean, they could, but...
What if there was a way to do it more subtly? What if there was a way to send a message to people telling them to be suspicious of the guard captain, and they don't know that that message is coming from us? We could do it with pamphlets. We could whisper it in people's ears.
Postering campaign.
Let's
Right in
spend
the sky.
2 months doing a grassroots campaign to
Tados,
down with the fiend. He's so mean.
Tados,
Yes.
didn't you say you had some sort of ability where you're able to create sounds and words? You used that shouting in the woods. Can you do like something quiet?
Why, yes, I can. But it only lasts for a short amount of time, Quintus. It's not as though I can whisper in people's ears overnight.
No. You wouldn't need to whisper in their ears overnight, but at a hanging, I don't know if I don't know if you just were to whisper it in people's ears as you're walking by them, just to sound some dissent.
Thaumaturgy
Yes.
cantrip, you can cast that all fucking day long.
Well, yes, I could do that.
And some of these people here are quite religious. If you say that that's the voice of perhaps a deity, I don't know, maybe it could deceive some of them. I don't know. What do you think, Graham?
I think the truth of what's going on is enough. I don't think deception is necessary. I think for them to know that their hard-earned taxes, that what they need to cut back these woods to provide for this town is going out of this town, is enough in itself for them to turn on the leadership. I honestly think. Well, not only
proof though.
Well, not only that. Well, we can steal the ledger if we wanted to, but not only that, it would solve the sprite problem as well, because they would stop cutting back the farm. So the sprites would be on our side as well to aid in that notice.
Yes, but Graham, Quintus has a point here. Why, if one were to suddenly, and I wave my hand, and suddenly you hear in your ears, the four of you, you hear, the captain is a fiend. Don't trust the captain.
Well, I mean,
listen, it spins around you. It spins around you in this.
Spooky as hell.
I'm just thinking that by just going out and laying it on the table in front of everybody might be more risk than it's worth. Because if we are not able to prove to the people that we are telling them the truth for strangers from out of town, I mean, why would they risk believing us? In the short amount of time that it's going to take the guard to.
Well, what I was thinking is if we explain to people during the next hanging, if we went up on the platform and we said loudly with your thaumaturgy, or however you wanted to, that a great deal of your taxes are heading out, your hard-earned taxes, and they doubted us, we could then reveal the captain as a fiend as sort of proof. Perhaps change it.
How do we...
Well, to say that we know that he is... Well, I'm sure if you poke him hard enough, he'll turn. I don't really know what a fiend is.
I still say we corner him.
With your high passive perception, as we are arguing in the kind of...
Discussing in hushed tones.
Sure, underneath the eaves of the stables, you realize that there's a figure striding towards us through the rain.
I'm going to guess that this is probably the captain of the guard. Should we just...
Yes.
Yeah. Should we just say fuck it and jump to
this
that?
This is a tall
Speaking
man with curly red hair plastered to his head. He has kind of a black and red cape swirling behind him as he strides towards you. Shiny boots. Seems kind of unfazed by the weather. And he gives you kind of a salute from across the square as he's walking towards us.
I'm going to salute him back. And I turn to the others and I say... Should we just kill him?
And as he's crossing, I holler, I make whatever sound I need to make for my sprite to come back.
Yeah, I would say that there was kind of a whistle that you guys had decided on, maybe? Right. Which, actually, the captain seems to, like, take in stride and, like, makes, like, a very, like, flourished bow, almost as if you're whistling at him in acknowledgement. And then continue striding towards you guys.
Right.
Meanwhile, you hear in the side of beside your head, like, "Fuck! I hate this fucking rain."
Ah, yes.
Should we just attack him then?
Like a little sprite kind of like nestles up underneath your cloak, and she's like, "Fuck! It's cold up here too."
We've got to get him to the right spot.
I whisper.
We can't do it when he can call his guards.
I whisper into the ear of my little sprite friend.
Quick, now onto the shoulder of that guard captain there.
And she's like,
do it quietly.
"Are you sure? He's a fiend."
We know he's already a fiend.
Well, is there any sense to it?
Is there any sense to this?
I turn to the other three.
I don't think so, no.
How do we defeat the fiend? Do they have any weaknesses, sprites?
We didn't have time to find
Like
out.
Leah said.
As we all stand discussing in very hushed tones what's going on, he strides up to our group. "Hail and well met, adventurers," and gives you kind of like a jaunty wink.
Ah,
Nice to
you must
meet
be
you.
the captain of the guard.
"Yes, Rowan Estal at your service." Pulls like, he doesn't have a hat on, just like kind of pulls the edge of his cloak out into like another like bow. And he says, "I suppose you were waylaid. Was meant to meet you at the tavern, but here you are at the stables."
Yes, we're very interested in speaking with you and finding out a little bit about your beautiful town here.
Yes, I understand. You were speaking with the mayor earlier about potentially hiring some of my men.
Mm-hmm.
Aye. They would be a boon to their cause.
Well, we really only need one able-bodied man. You seem quite able-bodied. Would be able to use you.
Oh, I am indeed able-bodied, but I am needed here at the town. Perhaps you would like some dinner? You can accompany me to the manor, and my servants will prepare a feast in your honor. For the Undefeated, I would love to learn some more about your retinue.
Your manor?
Yes, I have a Grandly Manor House just down that way.
And I look at my companions here, and I nod, thinking to myself,
It seems the prey has walked into the den of the beast.
Say
Or
that
maybe-
out loud. Excuse me, what was that?
Yes, that's what happens when you make dinner.
I think that I think that to myself.
Is that a colloquialism? So he kind of gestures down the street and then looks back at the four of us.
I would say no, but that's just me. I appreciate the offer, but I'm a bit too old and too tired at this early eve.
Oh, but you are standing about in the rain.
Yes, and I think it's about time to get back to our room at the Bloom and Barrel. Appreciate the offer, though.
Well, no.
Well, I am quite famished. I could go for something to eat, and why, it sounds nice visiting the manor of the captain of the guard.
Well,
I will join you.
I would tend to agree. I mean, I haven't eaten a thing all day. Well, except for the potato. But a nice meal would be all right. Leo, what do you say? Should we head on over to the dear friendly captain's
The
place?
friendish. What was that, sorry?
Leah kind of looks over her shoulder at Graham, who was kind of a little bit of like a mentor to her in the battle with the goblins and everything, and she's kind of looking at him for his permission, but she kind of wants to go. She's smiling and nodding, but looking back for permission.
I don't think Graham would give it. He'd kind of say, I don't think that's a good idea. But he would just sort of say that very hushed. He'd just shake his head
Well,
this.
Graham, maybe you could just get some rest and join us at the Bloom and Barrel afterwards.
And I wink.
And the captain's like, well, of course, if you indeed have a room at the Bloom and Barrel, perhaps I will join you for dinner there.
That would be a much more preferred option if that's all right.
Certainly, though he seems a little bit put out that you are denying him his hospitality.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. He's a fiend. I mean, the logic is, he knows, potentially he knows that we know he's a fiend because we mentioned fiend to the mayor. And this is his home. It's basically like going into the bear's den. And I'd much rather a public place. That'd be perfect.
Sure, yeah. So he looks at the other three people.
All right, Bloom and Barrel. Sounds good to me.
Food is food.
Right.
It's
So-
all the
Got
same in here.
potatoes everywhere.
So Captain Rowan leads you down the muddy street. Basically, all of the remnant of snow from the winter has been melted away today between the warm temperatures and all of this fucking rain. Thank you very much to Jeff M., whose XP continues to affect the weather in this episode. So the captain opens the door into the Bloom and the Barrel, and you guys, as you enter the brightly lit room, recognize Maury behind the counter. Man in a burgundy vest with kind of a golden hair and a little bow tie.
Yes.
And he just, you can see his whole spirit just, sinks through the floor when he sees the four of us show up. Hello and welcome to the Bloom and the Barrel.
And I simply raise a hand
Hello.
and move in quietly.
And we find ourselves a table.
Yeah, good captain. Please. And Maury kind of like hops out from behind the counter and scoots a couple of like farmers away from a table that's big enough for all of us to sit at. And he says the usual to Rowan. Rowan says, "What will you all have?"
I will have a glass of milk, please.
Hey.
Hey, I'll have the chicken stew, please.
Mm-hmm. Certainly, certainly. We have a mutton on roast as well, and there's...
Ooh, actually, do you have butterbean? Butterbean stew.
We have butterbean. It's not a stew, but it's being served with a chicken if you'd like.
Ooh, that sounds lovely. Yes, anything.
Is the chicken dead?
Yes, of course. The chicken is dead.
Then never mind. If it was served with a chicken on the side, perhaps I could go for something to pet.
What happened to your accent?
It's not Graham. I'm just pretending to be somebody else.
will you quiet down? This is odd.
Graham is too dour all the time. Needs to have a fake person. He has a split personality all of a sudden.
It's Graham as someone else. So anyway, the waiter hustles away, kind of glances back at the table and gives Tados, specifically the evil eye, and then waits on the table. Brings us some food, some beverage, and in the meantime, we have an opportunity to talk to Captain Rowan Astal, and he says, "Well, so I hear you are adventurers from far away, come to bring peace to these lands."
Not so much peace necessarily, just trying to reunite a fractured kingdom. I'm sure you can sympathize with the amount of grief our fair land has fallen into because of the fracture.
Yes, certainly. Well, times are hard everywhere.
Yes.
For each of us
And of
individually.
course, we're all trying to help our fellow man. As you, I'm sure, can agree, you are trying to do your part. Isn't that right, Captain?
No, absolutely.
And I'm gonna roll an
Insight?
insight there.
Okay.
Well, I guess I'll wait for Tados to roll.
12. What do you add to an insight? Oh, it's right there.
Insight?
So 14.
Yeah, I mean, he seems to give a shit.
Wait, what do you mean?
Like, you kind of believe him.
Okay.
He's like, yes, well,
Seems to give a
times
shit.
are hard, and,
Is there a way to roll an arcana or something to detect whether he's trying to charm us or something like this?
if he was actually trying to cast a spell on you, you would usually know it.
Okay.
Based on, as I ask you, is like, what are the components? Is it verbal, somatic, material? You would see him do a gesture or say a magic word or...
Right.
So it'd be perception.
Then I'm going to excuse myself to the bathroom.
Sure.
And I'm going to cast Detect Evil and Good once again to make sure that...
And this is the one that gives you Fae, Fiend, Undead,
Correct.
etc.?
This is the one that revealed him to me last time.
Great. So you come back, and indeed he is reverberating in a most appalling way. This is a fiend.
Is there anybody else in the bar that's like this?
No.
Just checking. All right. So he's still the fiend.
And I look at Graham.
He's a fucking cool fiend, though. Like, y'all like this dude.
Well, that's why I want to make sure he's not like trying to.
And I take out my glass of whatever I ordered and I cheers
everyone's
the
like,
fiend.
Here's to you, Captain.
And here's to you, my friend. Tell me now, you are a tiefling, is that right? Not many folk around here know a tiefling when they see one, but I know your folk. Are you from the mountains?
Yes, I am. Gregorian County.
Yes. Well, I would like to go one day.
Well, perhaps I will bring you to visit there, Captain. Now, tell me about your great town.
Yes.
So many people have so many wonderful things to say about you in this town.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I love my job.
It must be
It's a
difficult.
very rewarding thing to be doing.
It must be difficult. You've got a lot on your plate right now. as captain of the guard?
Yeah.
I mean, after the fracture, I don't know what was happening before it, but you've got goblins, I've heard. We ran into some on the road here, and you're somehow keeping them at bay. And you've also got... I was speaking with someone today, one of the townsfolk, and they were saying that there are lycanthropes in the forest. You heard that?
Well, yes, I have. But I am a uniquely capable being, so I will be able to manage these threats very
Uniquely
adequately.
capable. You have to be pretty damn uniquely capable to take care of werewolves.
You don't see any of these villagers sprouting fangs, do you, Quintus?
No, I do not.
And so, I'm doing a fantastic job.
And then there are the sprites, which you have to deal with, which are causing the crops to fail.
Yes, well, those sprites are just the worst.
Do you think they're worse than lycanthropes?
The sneaky thing about a sprite is that they go invisible, you see.
Yeah, so do lycanthropes. They turn into people.
Well, yes, turning into a person is a very specific kind of invisibility, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just a soldier. You know something about that?
Well, just that we have to fight the lycanthropes wherever they spring up.
Oh, all right. When was the last one springing up? I'm curious.
Oh, we haven't had trouble in, couple of months.
Oh, just a couple months, eh?
Yeah.
Have you ever had a lycanthrope here in the town amidst all the villagers?
Oh, we've had to deal with a couple of them, yes.
How
And
do you
what
deal
about
with them?
I'm sorry, what was that, Tados?
Sorry, no. Let Quintus continue.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just curious how you deal with them. I mean, I've never fought a lycanthrope before.
Silvered weapons, of course.
I see you
You're
don't hang them, eh?
undefeated, should know this.
And what about other random beasts from the unknown? Ever since the fracture, we've been dealing with all sorts of wild and wonderful beasts of the lower lands. I mean, everywhere from the Fae to well, fiends.
Oh, well, yes.
We've crossed them all.
It's interesting
Those
that you should be
devilish.
asking me for all of this information. I mean, I know that I command quite the guard. But you would think that perhaps the Undefeated didn't train you properly in fighting these creatures. Tell me about what you were told.
Let me just take a step back. We do face all sorts of creatures of the unknown. I simply was asking how you deal with creatures of the unknown, like the werewolves you were just describing to my friend Quintus here.
Yes, with silver weapons.
Yes,
But you could realistically hang them as well, which I hear has been happening quite a bit.
Yes, well, we take care of the more mundane threats to the village with hanging, as you saw this morning.
yes.
And you had a tour of the guardhouse as well.
Aye, we did. Quite an armory you've got there.
Yes, it's very secure.
And I say, what exactly are some of these people being hung for? The man today, he was hung for horse thievery, murder?
And murder, yes. I am sure you would agree with me that men who are murderers do not deserve to live among
I do.
honest folk like you and me.
Who did he murder? I'm wondering.
Oh, he murdered a farmer's boy.
Ah. It's tragic.
It was.
And what about the others? They were also murderers.
Well, we have all number of people who, escape paying the money that they owe this fine town that we run. People who commit terrible crimes against women, especially, have to step in and protect damsels.
Do you drink? Would you like a beer, sir?
I do not, thank you.
Oh, well, I'm gonna have one.
You
He-
don't drink.
Hoists a tankard of water at you guys.
Ah.
I would like to know. You are here. You are a very, very capable man. Captain of the guard of a wee, tiny, tiny town. Why are you here? Why don't you go work in, Orjak? Or even in another county? If you're so capable, why hasn't the Baroness taken you under her wing and taken you up into high society, as they call it?
Oh, I tell you, Quintus, truly, I find my work here very pleasurable.
What? What is about it? All the hangings?
No, just, bringing the youth up under my influence, teaching them the ways of the world.
Ah. Yes. And what ways might those be?
Well, instructing folk in the manner of how to do armed combat, how to protect the weak, etc.
Yes, the weak and defenseless, of course, you mean.
Yes, of course.
Do you not believe that some of the people in this town have been more heavily taxed in the recent past? And what are your thoughts on that,
Oh,
Captain of the Guard?
perhaps you'll have to speak with the banker about that.
Oh, and
I'm
perhaps we
Not a man of
have.
numbers.
Perhaps I have.
Well, dealing with all of these lycanthropes and goblins, I imagine you have lots of casualties, do you not?
Oh, yes, we do, certainly.
Oh, it's a shame to be responsible for all of those. Well, not to say that you're directly responsible, but, I mean, if you trained people properly, then maybe, there'd be less casualties. I don't know.
Tados
Well,
is a little bit drunk and frustrated, and he gets up and leaves the table
okay.
and
I was going
leaves,
to ask, where is
leaves
this
the
going?
blooming barrel.
Yeah.
I don't
Where are you
know. I
going?
was just stalling while I was waiting for, what's his name to come back, Graham.
I've been back the whole time.
Graham's
Oh,
back,
are you?
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
I
Graham's
step
just being
outside
quiet.
to catch.
I was just curious what you guys, I was like Joe. I was curious where you guys were going with all this.
I thought it might lead somewhere, but
Tato, you go outside. It's still pissing rain. What are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling frustration. I want to tear this fiend in half. I want to open up all of the secrets I've been keeping back over the last couple of days. I want to call him out for his secrets, and I want to battle him straight up. I just want to attack him across the table. But, of course, I've promised to keep myself in check.
Right. We have kind of like Graham is a little bit like holding the reins on the party in a certain extent. I feel like with your being like new kind of to the field and Quintus being young and Leah being young, like Graham is the de facto leader.
Yes.
It's exhausting being the leader.
so
So tiring.
So while
at the table.
while we're back at the table, like the food is almost cleared up, like,
yeah.
and
So-
Rowan seems like he's about ready to leave.
And I haven't said much to him, and I say,
Yeah.
Roland, you seem like a man dealing with a great deal of hurt.
I suppose I am. And you seem like a man who is very close to a god.
I am a follower of Alistair's light.
Yes.
When we came into town, I stopped in at the herbalist. We had dealt in our previous town with a birth that went awry. I shared this news with her after I bought some supplies. She mentioned that there was a similar case a few years ago. She mentioned
My wife.
She mentioned you.
My wife. Sorry.
And I am so sorry to hear about that. And I offer you my condolences, delayed, but I offer them nonetheless.
Well, thank you very much. Bernice was a lovely woman.
I'm gonna roll insight. Sorry, as he's answering.
Of course.
I don't have any more XP, eh?
Nope. Unless someone wants to spend one for you in the next 10 seconds.
Hey, anybody on the thing want to spend something for me in the next 10 seconds? 10, 9, 8. Only because there's a delay.
Yeah, exactly.
I also want to know what Bless does.
Cool role-playing episode, guys, by the way. I'm always interested to see how these like straight up and down RP sessions go.
Anybody else? Nobody's saying anything. So I guess no XP.
That's okay.
XP.
It is okay.
Do I have XP?
I just wanted to I really wanted that to succeed. What was I rolling on him? I forget.
You were rolling on an insight.
Oh, Dustin said he will. Thank you, Dustin. All right, I'm rolling that again. Let's hope I succeed this time.
Doing proud.
13, 18. 18.
And your insight is trying to ascertain what?
How he's responding to his wife's death. I'm under the feeling, you mentioned shape-shifting with fiends, right? Or something like that? I'm under the impression that this isn't the captain's guard, that maybe he died or something like that, or they switched or something. So I want to ascertain if he feels badly about losing his wife, if he actually is this guy.
Yeah, he seems bummed.
Okay, interesting. So then that would lead me to believe that he was a fiend when she died, which is weird. Maybe they were fiend. I don't know anything about fiends, even in a meta sense. So like,
nothing.
Do they have sex and have babies? Like, is that a thing? I don't know.
Maybe you'll learn so much about fiends, like
Excited.
soon.
Yeah. So okay. So I roll that, and he seems bummed about it, and I offer him my condolences, and I say, and I reach across the table to touch him.
Yeah. He accepts your gesture, and he nods, and he says, "Thank you. It's always very hard to lose someone who's close to you and knows everything about you."
And behind my eyes, I see just this burning flame because he's so fucking evil, and I'm like,
it's like
keeping my composure like so well, like
fiend.
And I lock eyes with him, and I say, if you need anyone to speak with, I've noticed your town does not have a holy man or a church.
That's correct. There are no holy men here.
And I want you to know that I'm here for you should you want to speak in any way, shape, or form to me.
I know you're here for me, my friend. And he stands up and says, "Thank you for dinner."
And as he stands up, I'm going to hold his hands.
Yeah. Okay.
Tightly.
Yeah.
Do you want me to do a strength roll?
No, he just lets you. You guys are holding hands.
No, like I'm gonna like stop him from getting up.
Okay. Yeah.
And Leah and Quintus are just like watching,
like sort of forcefully.
Yeah. Okay, he lets you.
And I continue locking eyes with him, and my smile sort of fades.
Mm-hmm.
And I am looking in from outside through the window across the bar.
Yeah.
Not against the window, just outside
You
the
see
window.
this. You see this situation become very tense.
I'm
and
starting to boil though.
Rowan just looks you dead in the eyes, and he's waiting for you to say anything.
And I say, we will meet again very soon, fiend.
You are welcome to my manor any time.
And I let go of his hands. And I let go of his hands first.
Yeah. And he stands up and he gives you a very low bow. And then he exits.
And I turn to the others and I say, I'm really glad we didn't go to his house. I told you!
All right, you were right. Fine. Oh my
It was
goodness.
like, holy shit, I almost peed myself.
But I do use the opportunity to kind of just reiterate, I understand that the need is important when people are nice to you, to want to follow them to their house, but we need to be very smart about things like this. He knew 100% before he even saw us this night that we knew he was a fiend.
Do you think he talked to Leslie?
I think she was the only person that we knew, therefore Leslie is as culpable, but I think she should be our first target. Either
there was also a guard, right? In the room when we were there?
Aye, there was.
And he's a captain of the guard, so maybe they just report to him about everything that happens.
That'd be pretty weird to be like, the guard's like, and also they mentioned fiend. Unless he knows they're a fiend.
You're a fiend.
Yeah, right? Like, we didn't say that. All I said was...
They think you're a fiend.
Well, what I said to Leslie on the road was that we had ran into some fiends, and she went, fiends? That seems odd. So, I mean, it's not possible.
And you were like, oh, aren't goblins fiends? And she was like, no, what kind of a cleric are you?
Yeah. And I said an ignorant one.
Mm-hmm.
Amongst your farmers.
Maybe it came up.
Possible.
Aye, well, how do we go from here? Tados, get inside. Come on.
Oh, Tato's just standing out in the ring. Tato's.
I am, and I see.
Tavern.
What?
You see him leave the tavern.
Yeah, I was literally just saying that. Yeah.
I don't think he necessarily notices you.
Oh man, do I ever just want to fucking fire a bolt of lightning at him right now? But I won't. And
We could go late.
I come back inside of the tavern, and through frustration and anger, I scream with thaumaturgy, this like low bellowing scream, and all of the lights just go out.
And Maury's like, get out. Get out.
And then the doors blow open and the wind comes gusting in, and I leave.
Can I finish my butterbean chicken?
Yeah.
No.
Aye.
Well, I walk over to him and I pay him for 2 rooms that we would each share.
He doesn't want you guys to stay. At the...
I roll persuade on
You
him.
know what? We can just stay at Marguerite's.
We're gonna stay at
And I yell across the tavern, I'm going after him now.
Don't do that.
All right, I'll stop him. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah,
And I pay
come
him
around.
for, and I put whatever the cost
Start
is down
walking.
to the barman. I didn't write down his name.
Who?
Barman.
Maury.
Maury. Like,
That's right.
Maury.
And I say,
Povich.
Maury, I would like to pay you for
is
2
he a
rooms.
talk show host?
Yeah, Povich. Yeah. I say, Maury, I'd like to pay you for 2 rooms tonight.
And he's like, you aren't welcome here.
We're not going to be staying here. I just wish to rent them. You can put anyone else in them if you'd like. And I put them.
Really? So I give you no keys. You just pay, and I have to say that you are staying here?
Please.
To whom?
To whomever should ask.
Roll persuasion.
Happily. Oh, 2. Can I put down another gold coin? Can I pay double?
He's like, that'll be 8 gold.
Oh, man. See, the problem is,
you can pay in a little bit. Like,
the thing is, the banker is gonna send people to like club us to death tonight because you waved so much fucking money that it would make no sense for them not to. That's why she asked. She was like, "Where are you staying?" I'm almost sure of it. So I want to give them sort of like a cause to be, because the minute they come in and be like, "Where are they staying?" and he's like, "There's no one staying here," then they're, gonna figure out something else.
True.
I also think that the captain thinks we're staying there too, and I'd rather not put the eye on Marguerite because maybe he's been following us and knows that we're there. And if it's an active tavern, there might be less likely to try to kill us in the night. But 8 gold is a lot.
Leah has 19 gold. This is like
We've got 5.2 from the community.
nice. Thank you, community, for your enrollment.
But it's so much for such a small thing that might not even come up. I'll just say don't worry about that, I guess.
Yeah.
You could tell how tight Harlan is in real life that he doesn't want to spend fake gold on
Fake
a
money.
fucking
Well,
D&D game.
yeah, I guess. I
Just fucking pay it.
but it's not even for an active thing. It's like a backup. It's not even likely that it will happen. But if I don't do it, it wouldn't be true role playing. So you know what? Yeah, I will pay. I'll put the 8 in. Because truthfully, if my life were on the line, as I am in Graham, I would do it. Because why would I risk it? I'd say, yeah, let's do it. So I'll pay.
Amazing. Okay.
Can you add the 5.2 to the coffer and then you can take it from the group?
Oh, okay.
Good call. Good call.
I haven't
So
done that.
I'm not sure if everyone realized, but when community signs up to play with us, our PCs get gold, which is nice.
Gold!
I like gold.
So he begrudgingly takes your money, and he pulls out his ledger, and he writes down that you guys have 2 rooms.
And
for
as
tonight.
he does the ledger, I do a spot on it.
Okay.
See if any other names. And if fucking, I swear to God, if what's his
Your
name
perception is crazy.
George.
right. George Lazenby.
George Lazenby is not on the ledger.
Thank
Okay.
God.
You guys haven't. You don't
George
know anything about
Lazenby
George.
wrote the ledger.
What does George even do?
I don't know.
It's gonna be a short story, Justin. That's the one you got to write next. Who is
George
George Lazenby?
Who is George Lazenby? He's going to be involved in a quest.
So I see that now that the ledger is out, I say, you know what? Fuck it. And I say for my money back. I say I changed my mind. Can I have the gold back?
No, of course not.
I'm going to give
good,
it
it's good.
intimidation.
I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it.
It's not worth it.
It is worth it.
I'm going to intimidate him with a
Role playing.
intimidation
Do you want
with
me to come
a
back in?
17.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to draw steel for this. He's like, excuse me, this gold is spent by the reputation that you tarnished by even being in this establishment this evening.
Fine. And I knock something off the bar as I walk out.
There's like
Fuck you.
a bunch of pamphlets by the door of places to see around here.
Actually, because I'm a cleric, I get angry for a moment. Everyone's out of the bar but me and him, and I'm like, and I cast something, and it's like a gust of wind, and just kind of it does whatever. It's like, but it's like a big sort of get, and I calm myself, and I'm almost embarrassed, and I walk out. Because there's anger in me.
Drama.
There's anger.
We have history with this place.
Yeah.
So,
Fucking blooming barrel.
Is it fair to say that we've caught up with Tados? We've convinced him not to barge into the barracks.
Leah and Quintus are the voices of calm reason.
Then you just see
This
the
time.
flames in my eyes. I'll just take them on myself. I don't even fucking care. I'll just take them on myself.
No, Tados, don't. It's not worth it.
Okay, you're right.
And I catch up with them too.
We have to work together as a group.
That's funny. So quickly.
You're convincing. And yes, I am part of the group. I'm not going to go and do something on my own.
And I catch up to
How
them.
are we going to catch this?
I say-
fiendy fiend.
At this point, it doesn't matter. He knows that we know he's a fiend. He's going to try to kill us and stop us, which means we do not sleep this night.
Let's go tonight to see the pixies.
I agree.
I
Stay with
really
the
love when they
sprites.
do Here Comes Your Man. It's probably my favorite song.
I agree.
Great band.
But all singing aside, you're right, Tados. If we stay with Marguerite tonight, we are risking her life,
Yeah, no.
which we're not going to do.
We
so.
go to the pixies. In the morning, we will ask them to join us. We'll burn down the fucking manor of the captain of the guard and show these people who he really was.
No, I meant more like we don't sleep tonight. Like we end this tonight. Like we continue. Like
Oh, we're going to end this, but I think we should sleep because I feel like if I have a sleep, I might be a little bit stronger in the morning. Like, if I don't go to sleep, I'll be tired. If I go to sleep, I'll feel more vitality,
AKA,
rejuvenated.
when we sleep next, we're going to level up. So that's going to be important.
nope, we kill him tonight. Fair enough. Then we need to find let's just camp somewhere. Yeah, let's just camp.
Yeah,
there.
with
we
the
have
sprites.
camps.
And then they can
I'm
warn
saying we
us
camp with the
if,
sprites.
Yeah,
Something's
and I would
coming.
like to have Marguerite camp with us as well, and maybe keep an eye on her house at night.
Because she's kind of in bed with all the shit that we're disturbing.
Yeah, like what I want to do is I want to
You're gonna say
camp.
all of us.
I want to camp like a bit into the woods, but enough to sort of survey the farm and see if anybody approaches in the night, like trade off so we can get good sleep. Because I think that'd be pretty interesting to see who exactly comes. It would also reveal how many guards maybe are under whatever.
I like that idea.
I will say that we can safely camp at the edge of the woods near Marguerite's property in a stealthy way, and we do not see any guards coming through the night. Marguerite agrees to hang out with us. And I think it might be a cool end to the episode if we talk a little bit about our leveling decisions, just in terms of mechanics, or do we want to role play for the next 10 minutes?
No, that's fine. There's not much role playing other than waking up, and that's a good time to do it.
So we sit around a small burning fire
and say,
for heating.
Are you leveling up? I'm leveling up.
We talk about how cool it is to be level 2.
Well, I'm getting Channel Divinity, and I have Turn Undead coming up, which is really cool. And
what kind of a cleric are you?
Turn Undead comes with everybody, though. I was kind of keeping my class secret.
Cool. That's fine.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm sure people know anyway. But yeah, I get that, and then another spell, which isn't really that exciting.
Neat.
What's everybody else got?
Well, I'm just thinking about what I'm getting. I'm getting my action surge, which means I get to attack twice on an attack roll. And I was thinking about, like, I'm getting 8 HP this level.
Oh, I should roll that actually too.
You don't roll.
Oh, we use the pre-done 5 plus.
Yep.
Okay.
Plus your con.
I figured that would be the way too.
But the way I was thinking I get it.
Or we can roll on air for HP if you guys think that's cooler. What do you want?
I'll probably just have a better chance at rolling. Well, probably not actually.
That's the average.
Okay, I'll just take it 6.
Okay. Why don't we say if we level up on air like this, you can choose to roll, or you can take the average. But I want it to be like something that the community can see where we get all the hit points from.
Right.
Yeah, I just did 6 plus 2, which is my con.
Yeah, I did.
How about you, Alex? What are you getting?
Mine says
it's 5 plus 2, isn't it? Or is that for clerics only?
Clerics are different than fighters.
Oh.
Yeah. And sorcerers are different than those two, because mine's a 4 plus con modifier plus 1 for my draconic resilience.
Nice.
So I'm up at 16 hit points max.
Hell yeah.
And I'm up at 15.
I'm also taking on another spell, which I've decided is Charm. So I've got Charm Person.
Nice, that's a good one.
But it only works on humanoids, doesn't it?
Yes.
Just FYI.
Yeah.
Charm Person.
We have a long game ahead of us.
No, I know. I was just saying, because I have that too, and I was like, oh, we could charm the dude, and then I was like, yeah, wait, no.
But maybe I should go something more battle worthy. I was gonna do Thunder
Wave.
Thunder Wave.
Well, I'm gonna do not that you can't do it, but I'm definitely keeping Thunder Wave, because part of my thing is that I now do set damage for thunder attacks, rather like maximum damage rather than roll for it. So like I think Thunder Wave does 2d8 damage, so I just do 2d8. Like I do 16 damage.
That's fucking badass.
I know. I was waiting to use it this game.
Nice.
I was like, but no. Oh wait.
Maybe you guys won't get as shredded as I assume. As far as Leah goes, she's taking her hit. She has a maximum hit point of 11 right now. Still very squishy. But she's doing a really cool thing. I get to choose my arcane tradition at 2nd level, and I'm taking a Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide alternate tradition. I'm doing blade singing, which means that I am learning from my warrior companion, Quintus, about what it is like to get up dirty with people. Learning to use my scimitar, so I become proficient with light armor and 1 weapon of my choice. That's the scimitar that I'm going to be wielding. And that, as a bonus action, I can activate my blade song. So I'm going to come up with like a sting that I can actually sing whenever I activate it, because I think it's really fun. Sweet. And that improves my AC, gives me a faster walking speed, advantage on acrobatics checks, and a bonus to concentration checks to maintain spells. So that basically means that I can be up in melee action and casting spells simultaneously. Which is really cool.
Very nice.
Yeah. So I'm a dex whiz with a scimitar, and I'm excited to get crushing skulls.
Crushing skulls. Oh, it's hard being a fighter and not getting to fight.
Yeah, man, so much RP. Yeah. I think honestly, next session is going to be really interesting. I think we're gonna finally get to this battle that I've been planning for a while, and I think you guys are gonna have a lot of fun. It's gonna be an exciting one.
Always having a lot of fun.
I already know exactly who has already guessed the true identity of the captain. The first person who ever said it, I screenshotted it because I saw it happen, and I'm really excited to call them out for their genius, because it's my genius. And good job.
And it's like it's a D&D thing though. Like it's not something that we would guess.
You guys,
I'm sure even Meta I wouldn't even know.
Yeah.
Harlan's still asking questions. So is like a fiend?
I don't know. I'm ignorant. I am the ignorant.
I thought he was a werewolf.
player.
I was like, for
that.
sure. I was like, I thought that was the thing you were talking about. Like, oh, someone guessed what it is. I was like, oh, this is like werewolf. Like, we're gonna have to like guess who to hang and stuff.
I think werewolves are lycanthropes. That's the thing.
Lycanthropes.
Lycanthropes.
Perfect.
Oh,
Well,
so there can be like a were-rat, which is a lycanthrope.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I guess we are going to stop it there then.
Wow!
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. We have the Endgame XP, of course. And I think it should go to Langdon Plaster, who's done a great job. And this is the first time he was hanging out with us tonight.
Oh, hey, Langdon.
Yeah,
I don't think
saw
I was in at the start.
No,
but
but I saw El Plaster. He's a first timer. I think it's the
He
first time.
found us through Feng Shui.
He did. Very,
Hey, buddy.
very common. Look at that cowlick. That's not cowlick. That's purposeful. That's pure nothingness, baby. Well done, Langdon. You win Endgame XP. You had a lot of fun comments and a lot of useful suggestions. A lot of great suggestions tonight, actually. A lot of the ideas I stole from Rin, as always, because she's just always on the ball, being like, well done.
How cool would it be to play a game with Rin? Just saying.
So freaking cool. I would love to craft a like scenario for you, because I think you and I would have good GM styles, like player GM style, because like I will craft this crazy mystery and you'll be like, wait a minute, it's Harlan. What is the third book from the show? And then you'll be like, damn it, that's the one that opens the secret passage, because you'll know me too well. It'd be a lot of fun. But thank you so much for hanging out tonight, guys. Hope you enjoyed tonight's game. Thank you again to Joe for running it, and thank you to us for playing it, because we were part of it too.
yeah, thanks, Joe. Awesome job.
Thanks, guys.
Fantastic.
Awesome job also.
Hope you guys have a fantastic night, a fantastic weekend, and as my friend Justin always likes to say,
Oh shit, I'm totally unprepared.
oh shit, I'm totally unprepared. Good night.
Bye.